multidisciplinary university, and all our international degree programs taught in English are based on our strength core areas. So I would, of course, recommend all of them. But if I have to highlight a few special or unique ones, I would maybe mention our bachelor's program in early childhood teacher education. That's something really unique. In Finland, we are quite famous of our high level of education, and that specific program gives you a great way to perform as early childhood teacher. And also, I would maybe mention our future studies program, which is a really new emerging field of research. And this unique program, it teaches you how to harness future opportunities and to avoid risks. And I think that's really important in today's world. So those two I would mention.
Okay, that's interesting one. Future opportunities. So it means that students can look forward to many more opportunities in the future, and they could come from multidisciplinary as well, or?
Yeah, it's it gives you a great way to perform like in strategic planning and to maybe plan on more sustainable future. So really relevant topics for future.
Nice. Okay, how about you, Joachim? How about that in Uppsala University?
Well, as the other two universities, Uppsala is a very research-intensive university, a very broad, comprehensive university with 120, 130 different master programs. But when I looked this morning, I started to think that over the last decade, I think a growing number of sustainability-related programs have emerged at my university. We have today on like 20 or something. Some of them very interesting. For example, it's a weird name, but Implementation, Transformative Learning and Sustainability. That program is about how to implement sustainability actions in a global health context. So it's about sustainability in health. For example, you shouldn't flush your antibiotics down the toilet or something like that. And other things. It's a very relevant program today with the pandemic and everything. So I think that's a pretty unique one. I haven't seen anything similar on other places.
Great. So I think all the participants should write down the programs that you all are mentioning before. Okay, next question. How would you assess student application? Would it be based on their former university rank or grades or any other things that you look at? I would start from Annie now.
Thank you. Maybe I would first mention that we have one application period each year. It's in January, and the studies begin in the following August. And our application it's done fully online, and the online form is available for 2 weeks in January. So it's not possible to apply in any other time. So it's really important that you are prepared for that January period. And application is always free of charge. But about the eligibility, to be eligible to apply to our bachelor's degrees, it's if you hold an upper secondary education certificate and you prove your English language skills. And for master's degrees, you are eligible to apply if you have a bachelor's degree or degree that in the relevant field in order to get to the master's degree program you're interested to. And you also need to prove your English language skills. All the programs also require a motivation letter that is also taken into account when we are choosing the new students. And we do not rank the universities, but the university needs to be accredited. And if you fill these basic eligibility criteria, so you have the motivation letter, you have the degree certificate, and you have the motivation letter, then the admission services will forward the application to the academic evaluation for the programs. So, and the program staff will evaluate the academic merits and the motivation based on the motivation letter, and the best students will be admitted. And there are some program-specific criteria too, but like for work experience, but those are mentioned in the program's website and they can be varied. So it's really important to read through the criteria of that specific program that you are interested in.
Okay, very comprehensive. Okay, how about you, Johan? How about it in Lund University?
Yeah, so there are kind of two parts to this question, I suppose. The first one is more related to perhaps entry requirements. So Obviously, all programs at master's level will have entry requirements, and they can be either very open, meaning that any type of academic background can be accepted into a master's, or they can be quite defined and narrow, that you must have a certain number of credits in this or that major in order to be eligible for this program. But then, of course, provided that you fulfill the entry requirements, eventually your application will arrive to our programs, and they will then assess you. So first of all, they will check that you fulfill the entry requirements to that particular program. And then they will basically give you merit based on how good your application is. And we absolutely take into account the status or quality of the home university and the quality of the education that we believe that this student has. So we look at that. We look sometimes at the GPA or the courses, at least the grades on courses that are relevant for the program that you're applying to. So, for example, if you were applying to chemistry, we will make sure that the courses you have taken in chemistry at bachelor's level, that you have a satisfactory grade in those relevant courses. And other courses that are kind of irrelevant, perhaps, that you have on your transcript, we don't pay so much attention to that.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. So how about you, Joachim?
The only thing I can say is we are identical to Lund University when it comes to that. And the only thing I want to add is that something that's unusual for some students is that the entry requirements are extremely strict in Sweden. You can't beg and plead with us. And the reason for that is actually it's in the student's best interest. Both Uppsala and Lund and Turku are very good universities, research-oriented. It's not super easy to study here, but it's very rewarding. So the education starts on a very high academic level. And if you don't have the prerequisite knowledge before you enter, it's going to be difficult for you. And we want students to succeed and become successful alumni, getting the career they want. And that means that we want to get the right students into the program, not just any student. So it's in the student's best interest we do it, actually.
Great. If I could then summary, it's actually the three of you is also wanting the best for students. That's the baseline, right? So the entry requirements would be for their own interests. Great. So next question would be, since Indonesian students would be categorized as non-EU students, so do you have any extra support or assistance that are offered for the non-EU students? I think Joachim can start for now. Yeah.
Sure. There are two things that are open to non-EU students that are not open to anyone else. And the first one is, of course, scholarships. If you're an EU student, there are no scholarships at my university open for you, but for international non-EU students, we have a number of scholarships. And every year, approximately maybe 100 people come on a scholarship, something like that. The second thing we offer to Indonesian students and others outside of the European Union is a housing guarantee, which means that we can arrange housing for you. You have to pay the rent, but we can fix it because we understand that it's not easy to sit in Jakarta and try to find housing in Uppsala if you don't even know the websites you're going to use, and etc. So we can arrange that. So every admitted student will get an email with a link to an online application form for the housing guarantee. And we recommend that they use it, even if the first room they get is not perfect. It's much easier to find something more suitable when you're actually in Sweden.
Okay, so scholarships and housing guarantee. And okay, how about you, Johan?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a copy paste what Joachim said. Basically, we have the same setup here. So scholarships and housing guarantee for non-EU student. And then of course there are a bunch of student services also available, but those are obviously available to all students regardless of where they come from. So that's just my 2 cents on this.
Okay. So for Lund University, it's the same scholarships and housing guarantee. I think I would ask about scholarships after this one, but we'll go to Ani first. How about University of Turku?
Yes, thank you. We also have scholarships for non-EU students. If we go to those later, I'm not going to explain those in detail now. We we have excellent services for international students that we always develop, especially now when we really need to increase the number of international students here at the University of Turku. We do not we treat all the students equally, international students, so we don't have any specific services for non-EU students. But I think as in Uppsala and Lund, we have very good student services overall, also for international students. And I think that's something that we could maybe even brief you more in.
Yeah, so I think all the Indonesian students that are interested to study in Uppsala, Lund, or University of Turku, you don't need to get worried because university offers the supports that you need. So scholarships ones, this is, I think, the most asked questions from students. Could you tell us more about the scholarships in your university? Starting from Ani.
Thank you. Yeah, so here at the University of Turku, we offer quite generous scholarships for international students, for non-EU students. Most of the scholarships we offer are scholarships that cover 100% of the tuition fee. In addition to that, we also have this new Finland Scholarship that is established from the beginning of next year. So it's first time available for the international students. And that includes, it covers the tuition fees, but also it includes a 5,000 euro one-off grant for relocation. So it just to help the new students to get the housing, to furnish their new apartments, and to get started with a good start for the studies. So we have those that cover the tuition fee, and then this one special Finland Scholarship. And it's the 100% tuition fee covered scholarship we offer for 30% of our admitted students who are liable to pay tuition fees. So best 30% of the students get the scholarship. And the Finland Scholarship is offered for the best one best student that is admitted to the program. And about applying to the scholarship, it's really easy. You do it online. You don't need any additional documents. So you just have to tick a box in the online form that you want to apply for a scholarship, and then the best students based on academic merits will get the scholarships.
Great. So everyone, please write down that information, and also the new one, the Finland Scholarship that is about to come next year. So Kay, Johan, you can please tell us more about the Lund scholarships.
Sure. So for Indonesian students, there are basically three options for scholarships if they study here. One is our own local Lund University Global Scholarship, which is a merit-based scholarship that can help with the tuition fee. Then we, on a national level, and this of course covers both Lund and Uppsala, we have Swedish Institute scholarships that can help both with the tuition fee and living expenses, actually. So it's a very generous program. The Swedish Institute for Global Professionals, I believe it's called. Indonesian students are eligible to apply for it. And then, of course, some students may also be eligible for LPDP funding if they come to our school. So those three options, basically. With regard to the application, first of all, I think it's important to emphasize that you must focus at this point in time on your program application. So students right now must focus to make a good, strong program application. Then after they have finished that, in our case, it's in February, after the application deadlines, then we invite eligible students to apply for a scholarship. And it's a pretty simple process where you upload a motivation letter and you tell us how much you need in order to be able to join us. But it's a merit-based, it's not a needs-based scholarship. So that's important to emphasize. So your program application is what matters, really. We look at that. If we see a student, we really want this student, then you have a chance to get a scholarship.
Okay, so Lund local scholarships, LPDP and SISGP, if I was correct, right?
Correct, yes.
Swedish Institute scholarships for global professionals. Okay, we can move to Joachim now. You can tell us more about scholarships.
Sure. As the others, our scholarships are merit-based. They all cover the full tuition fee. Some of them are just for students with certain nationalities, but some of them are open for everyone. As Johan said, it's important to right now focus on your application for the program because that's going to be the first step always. Our scholarship application opens on January 18th, and every eligible applicant will get an email with a link to an online application form. And I want to emphasize that absolutely apply to every single scholarship that you can. Some students don't want to do that because they think it limits their chances of getting admitted if they ask for a scholarship, but that's simply not true. The very good students get a scholarship if they apply, and we want good students. So please apply. We want to get rid of all our scholarships every year. We want to use them for you.
Amazing. So everyone, please use your chance. Since there are several scholarships, make the most out of it. That's the notes. Okay, I would go to the next question. Maybe you can share more on how your university prepares students to enter the professional world after their study. Maybe you can mention some of the cooperation with universities, with industries or any other things. Yeah, maybe Johan, you could start.
Yeah, thank you. So I think first of all, most students, we expect that most students who join our master's level program will afterwards want to join the labor market. Of course, some will go on in more research-oriented careers and perhaps do a PhD, but the majority will want to join a company or an organization where they perform work. So the way we prepare them basically is, first of all, in class, most of our students come from many different backgrounds. So you will be prepared to maybe work internationally or in organizations where there are people from many different countries. You get trained just through being in class to deal with people from different cultures and cultural, religious, etc. backgrounds. And we think that's very good. Then, of course, in many programs, there is a pretty strong connection to industry and companies. And that is a component of those programs. But since we have so many programs, it's hard to here and now say, yes, it's always like this in all the programs. In some programs, they have a lot of collaboration with industry, and other programs, they may not have a lot of collaboration in industry. So it depends very much on the programs. But of course, we want our students to be successful after they finish their studies. So we're aware of this, and we try to incorporate as much of this more like applied knowledge kind of component into the program. So the students are prepared to join the labor market when they finish.
So the whole process in the classroom as well counted, right?
Yeah, and yes, it does, because that's where you build your kind of network, right? You have to deal with people from many different backgrounds. You have certain issues and problems that you have to deal with, and it's very valuable in our opinion when you get lots of different perspectives, and that is why it's important to have kind of a international or global classroom.
Yeah, I'm very agree with that. So we can move now to Ani, maybe. How about University of Turku?
Thank you. I think what Johan said was a really, really good point. It's really important that you don't think that your career starts after your studies. You start building that career already during the studies with your classmates, and yeah, I totally agree with Johan about that. The current president of Finland, Sauli Niinistö, is actually a graduate of ours, so maybe it's safe to say that with the degree from our university, you can become anything. But yeah, jokes aside, actually, based on the preliminary results of our student survey this autumn, majority of our new students say that they chose us because they believe that they have a great career prospects with their degree when they graduate from our university. And that's something that we really take seriously. We want to answer to that wish. And we do really close collaboration with the Turku business region. That's some city organized organization that connects companies with international talents. And And we also have career services that arrange many CV clinics and other events every month. It's also possible to book a time for personal career guidance whenever you want during your studies. I would maybe especially mention our programs in the health technology field. That's something really unique in Finland, and Finland is known for its modern technologies and good healthcare. And in Turku, we have Finland's largest educational hub of biomedical sciences and drug development and health technology. So it's really unique health campus, it's called. It combines the university hospital, the university, and also the startups, big enterprises, all the companies in the area. So the students can work with companies in projects already during their studies and build a network also in the business world. And in addition to that, I would like to mention that at University of Turku really wants to emphasize also entrepreneurship. So if you want to start own business, we really support that, and we have services that support that wish. And one more thing I would like to mention about the ongoing process of developing the career prospects is that from the 2022 onwards, we guarantee internship subsidy for all our students. So the university supports a paid internship by helping the companies to pay the students' salary for the internship.
Great, that is very comprehensive, Annie. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so Joachim, how about you?
Sure, I can say just check,
Yeah.
because we offer pretty much the same things. I mean, we are Nordic countries. And I think, so what I want to add is something more general for the Nordic region. I think we are well known around the world for sustainability. Not just sustainable in an environmental sense, but also sustainable skills, because a lot of the education is based on problem-based learning. Because the facts you learn as a student today, there will be new facts 10 years from now and 20 years from now. We'll constantly learn new things. But the skills you need to find facts, to evaluate facts critically, to combine facts and apply them to solve real-world problems when you're actually working, that's something you can really learn in all Nordic universities, I would say, because that's very typical for Scandinavia and the Nordic region in general. I think that's also very particular for research-based universities such as my own, where we have a large number of students who really want to do a PhD after they've done with their master's degree. At my university, we have probably, the last time we looked, it was 35% of all graduates continued with a PhD somewhere in the world, and that's a very high percentage. So, sustainable skills, that's what you get in the Nordic region.
Sustainable skills. I would get into that because my next question is actually maybe not really academic, but more into the Nordic countries as a whole. So from your perspective as a Swedes or Finnish, what do you think is special about Nordic countries? Like why Nordic countries are always on the high rank on life satisfaction, happiness, and etc. That's interesting for students as well. Maybe you can share, or Joachim, you can continue to sharing that first.
Oh, I don't know really. I mean, work-life balance is something that has always been a big issue in Sweden, at least the last 100 years, and I'm sure it's the same in the other Nordic countries. I don't know what the reason for that is. It's just that we tend to enjoy our freedom to express ourselves outside of our job. Of course, that is also a luxury of being born in a rich Western country. We can actually do that. Not everyone is so lucky, but I think that's the reason why we today have a very. I think Finland was the happiest country in the world last year or something, right, Annie?
Yeah.
And Sweden came in like second or third or something. I mean,
yeah, we are at the top.
Happy people. But other than that, I mean, the climate. We have 4 seasons. Typically, the differing seasons are not a problem for students. They tend to enjoy the variety, but the varying light outside. In winter, it tends to be very dark. In summer, the sun basically never sets. So that's something they experience also.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most special things about studying Nordic countries as well. As in Indonesia, we only have 2 seasons, I would say. It's
Yeah, one
sunny
warm and
all
one
the
hot.
time. Yeah, true. It's hot or rainy all the time. So yeah, the 4 seasons ones is interesting. Okay, how about you, Johan?
Yeah,
Share more, yeah?
Joachim raised some very good points, I think. Also, I think, generally speaking, this probably applies both to all Nordic countries, is that nature is always very close by. I mean, even if you're in the middle of a big city or a semi-big city, if you take a bus or a car or ride a bike 10, 15 minutes, you're in a forest or on a mountaintop potentially. So nature is always very close by, and it's something that Nordic people, we enjoy a lot. I mean, if I look at myself and my friends, what do we do in the weekend? We go out, we go to the woods, we go hiking, we go to the beach. So that type of outdoorsy lifestyle is something that many people enjoy here. And another thing, perhaps I want to add to what Joachim said about the work-life balance, it's also important that we have a lot of, for example, it's quite easy, I would say, well, easy, is it ever easy? But to raise a family in a place like Sweden is something that is very good. I mean, it's easy from the parents' point of view to share the burden of raising children, basically, but through the way the system has been designed. So for women, for instance, they are not, locked to the house or to the home and have to forsake their careers in order to raise children, because they are expected to go back to work, and then the fathers will step in and take care of raising the kids, etc. So there's a pretty strong emphasis on having an equal kind of burden for the household duties, as it were, raising a family. And I think that's very good for both men and women, and for the children, of course.
True. I think this is very important for some students that may already have a family or kids, that they want to bring their partners to Sweden as well, so they can consider that. So, and yeah, how about you, Annie? What do you think about high rank? Yeah.
Well, I actually had 4 points for this, and Joachim and Johan actually covered 3 of them already. So I think that equality between all the genders, all the people here, we consider equal. And then we have that work-life or study-life balance, and then the nature. Those are the 3 things that Joachim and Johan already covered. But then I would like to add one more, and that's trust and well-functioning society. I think those are the things that are really the basis of the well-being and happiness. So the trust is, we trust the government, we trust each other. We think that all people are good, and we trust them. We trust our government and all the structures that we have here. So we have transparent practices. We have really we lack corruption, and I think because the countries in Nordic, they are safe, they are stable, and that allow people to plan their future far ahead, because they don't have to be worried about safety. Or I think those 4 things make the Nordic countries such a great place to study and also stay here after studies.
Great. I would just try to summarize all of your answers. So if you are choosing Sweden or Finland to study there, so there will be some aspects of work-life balance, 4 seasons, and natures are close by, and it's very supportive, especially for families to raise a kid, for gender equality, and it's also a place where trust and well-functioning society is there. Okay. I think we're gonna open the Q&A session soon, but before that, I would maybe ask one last question, and it's more about the students. What are they doing outside of their academic life in your university? Yeah, maybe I could start from Joachim. What is your students usually do outside of academic?
Depends a little bit on which city they are studying in, because Uppsala University is one university in 2 locations. So we have a campus on an island in the middle of the Baltic Sea, which is beautiful and fantastic, with beach life and windsurfing and all historic settings. So that's something they do there. But if you are a student in Uppsala city, we have something called student nations. And those are institutions dating back several hundred years. And basically there's a student nation for each province in Sweden. They gather students today. They look at them as student clubs. They have dinners, restaurants, cafes, parties, bars, theater, orchestras, libraries, some housing. They're basically the hub of social life as a student in Uppsala city. So if you are a student in Uppsala, you should absolutely join a student nation, not just because it's fun, but because there is also an opportunity to find and meet and get to know people who are studying something completely different from you. Maybe starting to grow your professional network there. And who knows, if you're studying business or something today and you meet a biology student there, maybe later in life you meet because he's working at a company, you're working at another company, you can do business together. So it's not just fun, it's also a way to start growing your professional network across borders of different subjects.
Yeah, I would agree that is very important for students outside of their academic life. How about you, Johan? What usually students do in Lund?
Yeah, we actually have the same tradition as Uppsala. I mean, Uppsala and Lund share quite a lot of similarities, both as universities and student towns. I mean, we're historic, prestigious universities, you know. So, and one of the reasons that many local students would choose to go to a university like Lund or Uppsala, for that matter, would be the student life. Basically, these cities are famous for the student life. And just as Joachim said, a lot of the student activities and student life, it's arranged by students for students. So the universities will not be in charge of activities that are outside of, you know, our scope, which is basically to do research and education. So a lot of the student activities are organized by the students themselves. And just as Joachim said, it's a great opportunity to actually meet people, to get outside of your comfort zone or go outside of your little bubble and meet people from different backgrounds, studying many different things. And we really want our international students to join this and have this opportunity to meet lots of people from different backgrounds and enjoy, I think, any possible activity that you can imagine. There will be other students who are already doing that in a place like Lund or Uppsala, for that matter. You will be able to meet people with the same interests and the same kind of ideas. So yeah, I mean, that's the benefit, in my opinion, or one of the benefits of studying in a so-called student town, or a university town, if you will, because there's so many people and lots of ideas and interests are represented among them. So please do, if you come to us, join the student nations, the student clubs.
Yeah, so many interesting activities, everyone. Don't worry. Okay, how about you, Annie? Maybe you can share more.
I think we are really similar in this with Lund and Uppsala, because Turku is the oldest university city in Finland, and we also have a long heritage of student unions. There are student unions in Finland and an association, and they look after students' interests. They organize free time activities, like Johan and Joachim said already, sports, cultural events, gatherings. So I to encourage all of the students, international students, to join these, because it's a great way to build your network. And in Turku, actually, every fourth citizen who lives here is either a student or a faculty member of one of the higher education institutes. So students are everywhere. Student life is everywhere. So yeah, the students in their free time, they join these student organized events, but of course I would like to mention the nature. So students go hiking. We have the Aura River, the Baltic Sea. So yeah, it's good to rest your nerves after lectures and exams in nature.
Yeah, that is important. I think students must be stressed out with academic life, and natures are there for them to do a lot of things. Okay, I think now we're going to open the Q&A session and begin answering the questions submitted during our talk show. I would look at the question, and yes, The first one is from Ines. Okay, this one is for Johan. Hi, Mr. Johan. I chatted to you yesterday to ask my possibility to apply in logistics and supply chain management at Lund University. Is it possible to discuss with the program director first? Thanks. Okay, sorry, the name is Francisca.
Francisca, yeah. Thank you. I seem to recall that conversation. I just want to say, first of all, that in order to make an application to a master's level or a bachelor's level program for that matter, it's not mandatory or necessary to contact the program first to kind of establish some type of relationship with a program representative. So that is absolutely not necessary. But if students or prospective students have questions about very specific details about a certain program that only program representatives may respond to or reply to, then of course go ahead and try to contact them. But if it's a more kind of general question about maybe a scholarship or housing or something like that, you probably should contact us instead, or my department, for those types of issues. But for very, very narrow and specific questions about a certain program, or yes, sure, go ahead and contact the program.
Okay, hope that's clear for you, Francisca. Okay, next question is for Joachim and Johan again. It's the question about SI scholarships. How many awardees are there on your universities? Each of your universities, maybe you can share on that.
That's a very good question. I actually don't know offhand. Do you have any idea, Johan? How many it can be? 10, 20?
You mean from Indonesia specifically?
From Indonesia specifically.
Oh, from Indonesia specifically.
Sorry.
Okay,
I honestly don't know, but I think there is, correct me if I'm wrong, Joachim, they do publish that information, I believe, on the Swedish Institute website after every application cycle has finished, or when the results are announced, basically. It should be possible for students to gather that type of information. But I mean, it's important to understand here that many different countries, I think it's 41 or 2 countries that are eligible for these scholarships. So there's not a quota for any specific nationality or country. You're competing with people from many other countries, so you have to make a very strong application in order to be considered.
Great. So the thing that they need to do is to check the si.se website.
Yeah,
I would add that.
Thing.
Yeah, that would be the best. So they could get more information on that. Okay, I think one last question is for Annie. Yeah. This one, it's anonymous, and he or she is asking more about, can you please share a little bit more on that Finland scholarships that you mentioned before?
Yeah, so it's Finland Scholarship is something that is, I think all of the Finnish universities have it until 2024. So it's a 3-year pilot that we are going to have. So all of the universities in Finland will offer this Finland Scholarship. What it covers and how it's applied depends per university. So it's really important that you check the website of that specific university you want to apply to. So, but the common things for the scholarship is that they cover the first year's tuition fee fully. So it's full tuition waiver, so to say, and then you get that 5,000 euro relocation grant paid to your bank account when you have arrived to Turku. So when you are here, you have started your studies, you have a Finnish bank account, we will pay the 5,000 euros to help you to get an apartment and furnish it, and to pay these fees that are related to the start of your studies. So yeah, and in Turku, it's almost all of the students get also tuition cover scholarship for the second year of the master's too. And the Finland Scholarship is only for master's studies. So, but here in Turku, we only have 2 bachelor's degree programs, and most of the programs are masters. So and applying to that Finland scholarship is done the same way as the other scholarships. So you just have to tick a box when you apply to the program. I hope that answered your question, but I'm happy to share more information on our booth later if there's anything unclear.
Great, sure. Yeah, for the one that asked question, please visit University of Turku booth so you can get more and talk to you, Annie, right? Okay, I think that was the last question from the Q&A session. I would go next. We are almost at the end of our session, and I would like to give the remaining time to all of you to describe or mention anything special about your university to the participants. Okay, I think you can start, Johan.
Yes. Thank you. Well, this is kind of a big question. You know, usually I have a PPT and it takes 1 hour to go through the PPT. So, but I'll try to be brief and just talk about a few important things that we believe are interesting for prospective students to know before they are preparing or making their application. So, Lund University is one of the more historical, I would say, and prestigious research universities, research-intensive universities in Northern Europe. And so we are very broad, a comprehensive university with 9 faculties, and we have currently around 130 master's degree programs for international students. So these are taught completely in English. We have 9 bachelor's programs as well that are taught in English. And the location of the university is in southern Sweden. So we are not located in or close to Stockholm, which is the capital city of Sweden, of course. Rather, we are very close to Copenhagen, the Danish capital. So there's a little bridge between Denmark and Sweden. So going from Lund to Copenhagen will take around 40 minutes or so by train. So that's the closest kind of very large city. We are proud to be one of the most international universities in the region in Northern Europe. I think according to Times Higher Education, we are the 40th, number 40, most international university in the world, actually, in the 2021 ranking. So 23% of our students are international, they're non-Swedish. And in the master's degree program, 60% of the students are international. So we're very proud of this, and we really believe it enhances the quality of our education and potentially research as well, because many students do actually go on to become PhD students after they finish their master's degree programs. I think if you go to our website and look at the programs that we have, it's very broad, of course, 130 master's programs. We have business, science, law, humanities, medicine, etc. So there is something for everyone, more or less, I would say. I would like to advise students to, if they find a program that they're interested in and want to make an application, please make sure first that you fulfill the entry requirements. Because this is, I think Joachim mentioned it before, it's kind of non-negotiable here. It's you either fulfill the requirements or you don't. And please only apply if you actually fulfill the entry requirements, because we do require that students have a type of foundational knowledge already when they enter the master's programs, because these programs are taught at an advanced level. So we expect that you have come in with a certain level already, of course. I think, speaking here both for Uppsala and Lund, we have a joint application system, a national application system in Sweden, which is known to students as University Admissions in Sweden. So if you go to the University Admissions in Sweden website now and create a user account, you can then add programs from either one university or several Swedish universities if you are interested in different programs. We are open for application now. And we stay open until January 17, 2022. So you have this window to make an application for programs that will start in the autumn of 2022, in mid to late August 2022. So that is when our international students will join us. And yeah, please visit our website for very comprehensive guides and information to our school, our campuses, and information about student life, etc. But pay attention to the entry requirements, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Johan. That's amazing description about Lund University. Okay, next it's your turn. Joachim, please describe more of Uppsala University.
Thank you very much. I'm actually not going to describe too much about Uppsala University because you can read it on the website. You can read about the Nobel Prizes, the ranking, and the founding in 1477 and all of that. It is no mystery. But what I want to emphasize is that we care about you. I mentioned that earlier, and I want to emphasize that again, that when we work with student recruitment and try to market our educational opportunities, what we try to do is we try to help prospective students become successful alumni. The most important thing for us is to get you into the right program. And I don't care if that program is at my university or at Anni's university or at Johan's university. It doesn't matter to me at all. I want your future career to be the best it can be, because long-term, that's the best reputation building that we can have as a university. But we also understand that it's extremely difficult for an international student to make a choice. It's a life-changing decision. It's a huge investment. And we try to take that extremely seriously and put your best interest first. We don't have a problem to get applicants. We just want the right ones. And as Johan said, take a good, careful look at the requirements before you apply, so you actually fulfill them. That being said, I hope to see you at the booth later, because I will be there and chat more with you guys. And visit the website. There is a Student Nation for Dummies, also available video, so you can learn about the student nations that we have in Lund and Uppsala. So thank you. That's all for me.
Thank you, Joachim. That's a very touchful statement, I would say. Thank you very much. Okay, and the last but not least, please, Annie, you can tell more on
Thank you.
University of Turku.
Yeah, so I warmly welcome everyone to explore the degree programs that we offer at the University of Turku, especially if you're interested in health, biomedical sciences, technology, engineering, or ICT. I strongly recommend that you first visit our website or come to our booth. We are happy to share information about our programs. We try to provide the students with problem-solving skills which you need in the career life afterwards, and the strong high standard education that you can use also for the PhD studies. So the goal is to give you a career that meaningful career that in your future. And yeah, the Nordic countries, they are the best choice for you if you are looking for a world-class education, but you also value a good study life balance and work-life balance afterwards. So I really encourage to explore all the Nordic countries and the possibilities we offer if that's something you are looking for. And at the University of Turku, we have the core, which is made of research and excellent professors, but that core is, so to say, surrounded by a vivid student life full of events, great restaurants and cafeterias, beautiful nature. So I think that if you choose Turku, you will have a really meaningful years ahead of you when studying with us. And come chat with us at our booth. There will be me helping you with the program, scholarships, everything. But there's also our current student, Hilja, who actually studies at the Human Neuroscience program. So if you're looking for any experiences from current student from Indonesia, I encourage to come and talk with Hilja too. And yeah, I also encourage to take a good look on the admission criteria and all the documents that you need, and get prepared for the application period in January in Finland. And one more thing I would like to mention is that we are going to have a virtual open week coming up within a little over a week. So if you go to our website, you will see there a link where you can register, and all of our international programs will be there, having their own interactive webinars where you can talk straight to the program staff. So if you have any questions specifically about the specific program, I recommend that you sign up for the virtual open week. We are able to help you with the admission related questions and about Turku and University of Turku, but if you have questions about the specific program, that's the place to be. So that was all from my part. I would also like to thank you, Johanna and Joachim, for a great discussion. It was lovely to meet you, virtually.
Perfect. Thank you, Annie. I would also add a little bit that since everyone were mentioning as well of the link of each universities, I would share also on the screen for you who want to know more of the details about each of university. Please do visit www.lunduniversity.lu.se for Lund University and www.utu.fi/en for University of Turku. And the last one is www.uu.se/en for Uppsala University. And I encourage everyone to read every single information over there that would be very beneficial for you to choose the right destination to study abroad. Okay, we finally come to the end of the session, and I'd like to thank Johan, Joachim, and also Annie for the interesting discussion. We have received a lot of information from all of you in the session today. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all the participants as well for your participation. As a reminder, before we close the session, don't forget to visit the virtual booth outside to talk to Annie at the University of Turku booth. You can talk to also Johan in the Lund University booth and Joachim in Uppsala University or other universities that you are interested in, so you can chat with the representative directly. On behalf of the EHEF 2021 organizer, thank you everyone for joining us today, and see you in the next talk show.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
enjoyed it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the EHEF Indonesia 2021 Institution Talk Show. Good afternoon to those of you who are in Indonesia, and good morning to our respected speakers in Europe. It's really great to see everyone here, and thank you for your time in joining this auditorium. A little introduction about myself. My name is Suchi. I'm an alumni from one of the universities in Europe, a former EHEF attendee as well, and I will be your moderator throughout the session 1 today. The topic on the session is the innovative and multidisciplinary universities of Northern Europe. We will talk about everything from Halmstad University, that is located in the city of Halmstad, which is public university in Sweden. And we will also have Satakunta University of Applied Sciences, which is located in Satakunta, Finland, which is the public university as well. And we will have Tampere University, located in the city of Tampere, that is a public university in Finland as well. Okay. Before we get started, for all attendees, you will have the opportunity to submit text questions to the presenters by typing your questions on the side of your YouTube screen. And you may send in your question at any time during the presentation, but we will collect them and address them during the Q&A session after the talk show. Okay, and last but not least, for your information, the meeting is recorded. Okay. Since everyone is already here, let me welcome our speakers from the 3 universities. First one is, hi, Kalyani.
Hello.
Yeah, Kalyani. Yeah, I would introduce you a little bit. Kalyani is the international coordinator from Halmstad University. And next one, we have Johanna from Satakunta University of Applied Sciences. Hi, Johanna.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too.
Great, thank you. And last but not least, we have Joanna from Tampere University.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone.
Good morning for all of you there in Europe.
Yes, for us, it's morning still.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only for me here and for the participants that in the afternoon time. Okay, it's great to see you all here. I hope you all are doing well. And I would start by asking a question in our talk show, and I'll choose each one of you to answer. I think we can start now. Okay. So the first one, maybe could you mention any special majors in your university that perhaps a little bit difficult to find in other universities, if you could say. Kalyani, maybe you can start to answer.
Sure. We have Stig with me here as well. And
hi, everyone.
We will do it together. I think the most innovative programs that Halmstad University have is energy smart innovation and industrial innovation, because it's a combination of engineering and business, which is quite unique in Halmstad University. But we also have other programs, but all in some or the other way, all our programs are connected to innovation, like smart cities, innovation, and etc. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. I would also introduce Stig as well, maybe a little bit. Hi, Stig. Welcome to the session as well. I'm sorry
Thank you very much
for the introduction one. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Susie. But Kalyani will take the lead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Can you go next one to Johanna? You could mention maybe any special majors.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, so I'm Johanna from Satakunta University of Applied Sciences, and we are not a traditional science university. We are a University of Applied Sciences. And I think that, well, just to clarify this, is that this is, you can study here with mix of theory and practice. And we have got 13 degree programs in English. And for example, AI and mechatronics are at the moment quite popular ones. And then we have, for example, international business and nursing programs in our university. Thank you.
Great. I think everyone should written down all of the information mentioned before. So Joanna, how about you in Tampere University?
Yes, thank you. So we offer, as the second largest research university in Finland, we offer kind of a big variety of different fields. But one of the key features for us is sustainability. So a lot of our different programs carry this theme from, let's say, digital life, which is all about the digital aspects of sustainability, to architecture, and all of our programs have that core element of sustainability. So we're really looking forward to solving those problems, whichever field our students study in.
Thank you so much for the answers. Okay, maybe we can go to the next question now. Yeah, okay. Maybe you can share us on how do you select your applicants to get admitted into your university? We can start from Johanna.
Yes, so if you are qualified to apply in a university in your own country, you can apply to our university too. And in Finland, we are using this general portal called studyinfo.fi. So everybody is applying through that portal. So that's what we are using here in Finland. And so that the application is that way really equal to everybody.
Okay, so the link was finland.fi, right?
It's studyinfo.fi.
Okay, study in Finland.fi.
Study info.
Sorry, studyinfo.fi. Yeah, so everyone can written down that one. I think that's important. Okay, and Kaljani, maybe you can share to us how you select applicants.
Yeah, usually there is not eligibility. I mean, there are specific eligibility criteria for our master programs, and we usually do it with respect to the CGPA. And it's also important, if a student would like to apply for scholarships, they need to compete with the student applications from all over the world. So the high CGPA is always recommended, but there are no particular cutoff or anything required. All the students need to have similar backgrounds, of course. An engineering student cannot have an admission to a business masters. So they need to have the similar backgrounds and a good CGPA. This is how we usually look into the applicants. Would you like to add something, Stig?
Yes, I just would like to add, just like Finland, Sweden has a central admissions systems called universityadmissions.se. So if you apply to Halmstad University or any other Swedish university, you go through this portal where every student create an account, fill their basket with up to 4 programs, could be from different universities. Then you upload your the required documents. So you have to check for each university what their requirements are. And then the selection will be published on this web portal, universityadmissions.se, and there you download your admissions letter and everything. So it's a very convenient and easy way to apply. And if you reapply next year, all of your documents and whatever evaluation has been made will be kept for the future. Thank you.
Great. So universityadmissions.se for you.
I have posted the link in the chat.
Okay, yeah. Since everyone that is watching is on YouTube, I think I would just read the link that you written down. It's again, everyone, universityadmissions with s.se/international/intl/start for you who wants to look at directly. So we go to Joanna now. Joanna,
yes.
How do you select the applicants? Yeah.
So that actually kind of depends which category we're talking about. So we offer international bachelor's, master's, and of course we have also doctoral schools. So for example, for the international bachelor's programs, we have kind of like 2 categories where students apply, depending on what their background is. So majority of, for example, our Indonesian students apply through the first admissions category, which is about the SAT test. So basically the eligibility, first of all, is that what Johanna mentioned also, is that if you are eligible to apply for a certain level of studies in your home country, in Indonesia, you are then eligible to apply in Finland. But then there's the process of admissions. In admissions requirements for the bachelor's, we require the SAT. But then the majority of our international programs are at master's level. For that, the selection is based on basically how well you succeeded in your previous studies, with the combination of, for example, your motivation. What do you want to do with the master's program? What are your ambitions and what kind of a maybe research interest you already have? So we ask for a motivational letter. And those will be kind of combined together. And then our professors and teachers in the program select the best students based on how well they've succeeded, but also what are their ambitions and interests in the future. And of course, for the doctoral school, the bar is slightly even higher then. And I do recommend that if you are interested in any doctoral level studies in anywhere in Finland, basically, is that you contact, first of all, the professors in the different research groups, because then they can tell you if there are options open for future doctoral students.
Great, very comprehensive explanation, Johanna. Okay, we can go next. It's since Indonesian students are, I would say, categorized as non-EU students. So maybe you can share more on how your university supports non-EU students currently. Johanna, you can start maybe.
Okay, so as everybody knows, we have got the tuition fee here for non-EU students in Finland when they will arrive here and get the study place. And then we have got quite large scholarship program here at the moment. So you can get an early bird discount for bachelor level student, which is like 1,500 euros of your tuition fee. And then we have got success in study scholarship for both levels for bachelor and master levels. So if you are doing your studies pretty well, you can get a scholarship for that too during each year. And now we have established also these Finnish language skills scholarships on 2 levels. So because it's pretty important to learn some Finnish at least here when you are here, or if you are planning to stay here. And then of course, if you are going to study in nursing or physiotherapy programs, you need Finnish at your work. So that's one of the scholarships too here in our university. And if we are thinking about how other ways we are supporting our students, we are of course helping them from the very beginning with the accommodation things and how to do some orientation studies before they will arrive in Finland. And then we will help them too, so that when they are contacting us, we are arranging questions and answer sessions for those who have applied and who have got in, so they can ask their questions or even invite their parents to the session too. And then, of course, well, there are several services here in our campus. There is a photo of our campus here in my background. We have got a very good library here in Satakunta University of Applied Sciences. And then, for example, you can get lunch with 3 euros per day here. And also the health services are offered. And yes, then we also have got international tutors here who can help the students during their studies and while they are starting their studies here.
Great, thank you, Johanna. That's a lot of support from the university given to new students. How about Johanna? You could, explain on that.
I think we have so many similarities between not just the Finnish universities, but the Nordic universities, that I think one of the core beliefs we all have is that we want to support all of our students. It's very important to us, and it's something that it's quite, I think, in a way natural to us also, that we want to take care of each other. I think it's the society as such. So we have established in Tampere University a lot of different services. And one of the things also is that we offer them for everyone. So international students are never excluded out of anything that happens in the university. But of course, we also recognize that there are specific needs that international students have. For example, the scholarships is one important part, and we at the Tampere University offer different kinds of scholarships. I would go through the whole of the list here. You can join us at our booth and we'll explain more about those. But for example, if you were listening to the previous presentation, Anni there from University of Turku mentioned the Finland Scholarship. So that is a new scholarship system introduced for the research universities and specifically for those who are looking for international master's programs. So we can tell you later a bit more about those. But scholarships is a natural part of supporting international students, those who come from outside EU. But also we have extensive system of support for integration, because I know it can be scary and kind of feeling a bit lonely if you think about moving to the other side of the planet, but there are so many other international students who have lots of experience. We have fantastic staff. The academic staff is there to also support our students, and the whole welcome week that we have for the international students kind of kicks off that support that lasts until you're an alumni. And of course, student tutors and such are an integral part of this integration process. So we want to make sure that all of the students feel welcome and don't miss family too much, because of course you miss them, but not too much. And actually one of our students is in our booth, and she can tell you all about how she feels about the integration and the services, because I can list you lots of things, but she can tell you how she felt being becoming part of Tampere University community.
Super, Joanna. I think it's really important for students to get integrated into society as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Kalyani, how about you? You can share more on that?
It's almost more or less the same services that we provide, like Johanna has already mentioned about it. But I would also like to add, we have a huge support system, specially designed for the international students, that has been developing over the years in Halmstad. And we have like free healthcare system, insurance, and a lot more. And we also have student associations and student union that supports international students in singing or different kind of sports. And if they have a special interest, they can also create their own groups through our student union. And apart from that, we offer different scholarships. It's SI scholarship and also the university scholarships that we have, which covers part of the tuition fees. And but there is also an extra scholarship for the students who perform really good in their first semester. They can actually, they have an opportunity to apply for a second semester scholarship. So these are some of the examples of how we provide or what we provide for international students. But apart from that, we also have a special program, platform designed for international students, which is called SEEP. It's a student experience and employability program, where we try to give an insight of meeting different companies, especially local employers, and how to build up their networks. And also, if they are interested, they also have an opportunity to learn basic Swedish language. So it will help the students to understand the working culture in Sweden. So this is something that our international students actually admire, like a lot. And this is also a platform where they have an opportunity to meet other international students. So it's a lot of experience on different thought process, how the different nationalities or different students think. This is, yeah, and the students have to apply for this program once they are here. Yeah, but we also have buddy programs that we would like to try to match the students from alumni, previous students, and then the current students. So yes, we have this kind of international support.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of summary that students, you don't need to worry since universities are offering so much help to be there and study properly. Great. I think about scholarships, usually students are most likely would ask about that, but we wouldn't go there because it would be better for them to ask you directly in the virtual booth, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So next question, perhaps a little bit more about Nordic countries as a whole. I think it's also interesting since Nordic countries are usually in the highest rank when it comes to life satisfaction. Finland was the happiest country last year, if I wasn't mistaken, and then Sweden, well known with its work-life balance and things like that. Maybe you could share on how could Sweden, Finland, and other Nordic countries is in the top rank when it comes to that?
I can start with this.
Sure. You're excited. Sure.
Yeah, because I'm from India and I came to Sweden 6 years back to start my studies. And then the major difference, of course, for everyone is to experience this extreme weather conditions. But I must say that Nordic countries manage it pretty well because there is this heating systems everywhere, buses, trains, bathrooms, everywhere. So this is a huge difference when you see Nordic countries from other perspective. But apart from the climate and weather, I must say that the air is very clean and neat, and the support system, once you are in the system, the healthcare or the different kinds of tax support is really good here in Nordic countries, especially in Sweden. So yeah, that's why I'm a bit excited to speak about how it works in Sweden, because I can relate it. I come from India and it's a total another world for me. Yeah.
So yeah, you are a former student as well. So you also
Yes,
share the perspective. Yeah,
exactly. 6 years back, I think 7 years back now, I have finished my education in Hampstead and then started to work in the same university. So yeah, and you also get a very good opportunity to travel with and experience different cultures, because when you come to Sweden or when you come to Schengen country like Finland, you usually get a Schengen residence permit. So there is a lot of experience that you can actually travel to different countries in other parts of Europe with Schengen visa, like 25 countries, which is really good. And it also gives you an opportunity to explore different kinds of job opportunities that you could get, because here by regulation, you can actually live in other countries, other Schengen countries for 3 months. So there is a high perspective or high good opportunities outside of Nordic countries as well. So yeah.
Thank you, Kalyani. Okay, Johanna, maybe you can share more on why Nordic countries are always on the highest rank.
Well, what to add? That was almost everything, but
yeah,
as you said, that yeah, the countries are well functioning countries, all the Nordic countries, and it's pretty safe, I think, too. One thing to add. And then on what I would like to add is that if you will start and study in a University of Applied Sciences, you can even do part of your studies abroad as an exchange student, and all the studies will be counted in your degree. So maybe that's one thing to add. Yeah.
Thank you, Johanna. What do you think, Johanna?
Well, I would actually add that I think Finland has been voted or chosen the happiest country already 3 times in a row. And what is very specific about Finnish people, when we first heard about this, we thought it was a miscount, that it cannot be true that we're the happiest. But I think it has to do with the possibilities we give for everyone. It is actually, when we say it's the happy meter or happy chart, it is about what kind of possibilities a person living in that country has when it comes to education, bringing up a family, and having the ability to vote, own thing or anything. So that combines us. I think it would be more like we are the most satisfied with our life, and maybe happy is a nicer term for that. But it has to do why Nordic countries are doing so well, that we have a long history in building our society for everyone. So it brings the stability that Johanna mentioned about the safety. It brings the fact that we do put a lot of effort in making sure that we protect the nature that we so much love, and so on and so on. So there's a lot of things that have long history also in Nordic countries that we make sure that we do fight for still. It is not just given to us, and we try to not to take it for granted. So we need to maintain. That's why, for example, I think one of the key things for us is education. Education in Nordic countries, we've always taken it seriously, always wanted to make sure that everybody has access to it. And then from that has already grown this really wide network of higher education institutions, both universities of applied sciences and research universities, and the possibilities in them. Considering that Nordic countries are not fully populated big countries in that sense, we have a wide network of possibilities here. And that we have since beginning, I think this is very much about Finnish people also, is that we feel that we're slightly in the corner of Europe. So we've always maintained the idea that we want to reach out internationally, that we want to we want to go and see places, but we also want to invite people to come and enjoy Finland, even though we sometimes do ask, how in the world did you end up here? But it's sometimes a bit of our shyness to admit that Finland is such a great place to live in. And again, I think the proof is in the fact that all of the Nordic universities have big numbers of different nationalities. So you can find all kinds of nationalities here. So all kinds of people have found us, and like Kaljani, that want to stay with us also. And like a lot of our students, after graduation, majority of our students actually stay in Finland, either to study further for PhD and such, or to work. So I think they are the best proof that Nordic countries are really good places to live in.
Thank you, Joanna. I think everyone that is watching cannot wait for more to start studying in Nordic countries after hearing of all of your answers now. Okay, back to the academic questions now. In your university, can you maybe tell us more about the thesis opportunities? Can students pick between research or hands-on project with companies, or any other options on that? Yeah, maybe Johanna, you can start.
I think that our theses are combined with all the science facts and practical things, and mainly done cooperation with the companies and organizations. And then after that, many of our students will get employed by those companies and organizations when they have done their thesis there. So that's the way how it works here.
Okay, great. How about you, Kaljani?
Yes, thesis is one part of the one major part of their education, but also even in the courses, most of the programs here are collaborated with small and medium-sized companies in and around Halmstad, because we believe that a hands-on or real experience a student can experience, it will actually provide them an insights of how they can work in future. So we try to give them a real product and real service, and they have to have this problem solving techniques. And I can say that most of the education is in group work, teamwork. So they also learn how they can take up the challenges in future once they have these employment opportunities. And coming to the thesis, we have different sources to find support for the master thesis, especially when it comes to choosing a company, they have an opportunity to meet our incubator, which is called Hi-Fi. It's a student incubator. And there is a possibility for students to go there and meet different countries and different companies to find for the data collection. And I can also say that usually compared to Swedish students, there are more international students in our research areas. And we also have our master students who completed their thesis, ended up in our university as research students. And there are many projects that's going on right now, like Host or Catfish projects that the students have started their projects as a research idea and as a research thesis. So that's also another opportunity that our students can opt to have.
Okay, so there are several opportunities in Halmstad. Yeah. Okay, how about Tampere University, Joanna?
Yes, of course, as a research university, we have basically the thesis is the basis of your master's studies, but also at bachelor level, of course, you do the smaller bachelor thesis. And this is my favorite topic actually this week, because Camelia, our student, just submitted her master's thesis, and she'll be more than happy to probably tell you in our booth about that she started as a doctoral student now. So we're super proud of her. And this is definitely one of the reasons why students find our university, is that they are looking for those specific research groups that they can then go into. A lot of our master's students already go into research groups to work in those and be able to kind of immerse themselves into research very early on. But also there are, in Tampere area, there's a lot of different businesses and organizations that work very closely with our university. So our partnerships with the local companies is very strong. I just heard that for example, in the business and technology master's program that we have at the moment, the second year students who are doing their master's thesis, 80% of them are doing a paid for master's thesis for the different companies in the area. So that very much tells you how strong the connection is. So they are at the same time really getting the hands-on experience, what kind of R&D, for example, research the local companies need and want to do. But at the same time, they are doing their academic paths for their program. So getting both the credits, the thesis done, and also getting paid for, and getting those really important networks that you need when you go to a country and want to maybe establish some kind of a career there after your studies. So definitely thesis work is something that it depends a lot on what the student wants to do. If they are very much into research and have found that really interesting thing in photonics, we are definitely the place for you. But if you also are looking into maybe even starting your own business at some point in sustainability, for example, that is definitely then supported here.
Great. So students, you can start to think on what you want to do, what you want to research, so you can find more on details later. I think that was the last questions that I have, and we have already several questions from students that are watching. So I'm gonna open the Q&A session and we can begin answering their questions. Okay, the first one is for Joanna, Tampere University. What has the Tampere University done particularly for environment sustainability?
All right, very important question indeed. As always, a lot of research universities who teach in the field of sustainability or in environmental engineering, as we do, they are very heavily involved, like I said, with the organizations and companies in the area. We have even a wider network. We do a lot of research in cooperation globally. And we have the program in environmental engineering, which is from the first year it started, very popular among the international students. So there are different perspectives to this. There's a lot of research that we do, but we do hands-on collaboration with businesses, but also the governments and other organizations that work towards improving, for example, waste management, water systems. There's a lot of research just recently from, for example, just PhD dissertations in this field of environmental issues. So we have issues that go from governance to engineering and anything between that students can kind of stick their hands into and start working on, but also that our university does. So single-handedly, we cannot solve a lot of problems, but together, and that's like, again, the core element of how Nordic countries operate, is together with higher education institutions, the governments, and different organizations and businesses, together we can start solving these issues. And our place is definitely among these people.
Great, Joanna, thank you so much. I would go to the second question. Okay, this is to Kalyani and Stig. I'd like to apply to Halmstad University in Master in Strategic Entrepreneurship for International Growth. The requirements didn't ask about the letter of intent. Do I have to prepare it like other universities or not? Thank you.
No. You have to apply and you only need to have your transcripts. And you don't need to have any special motivation letters because we only consider your education and CGPA for the admission. But if they're applying also for the scholarships, of course, motivation letter or exam or experience letters or letter of intent, of course, would be a added advantage. Stig,
and also, and also a proof of English from Indonesia. Yeah. It's usually IELTS, TOEFL, or Pearson, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so no specifically in the program requirements, only for the scholarships. The letter of intent is needed. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, the third question is, okay, I think this is more about PhD program, but someone that is asking didn't really mention which university, so I guess you all can answer on this. Where I can find the list of professor profile to discuss regarding the research plan for PhD program. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, doctoral schools is the place where to start from, at least at Tampere University. So we have about 20 different doctoral schools, depending on the field of study that you're interested. You need to go to our website and visit the different doctoral school websites, because all the contact information is there, which are the professors in those fields and such. And it's always good to remember that in some of the doctoral schools at Tampere University, there are specific times to apply. But you need to make sure that you have had the discussions with the professors on possibilities before there's application. Some of them have application deadlines a couple of times a year, some every other year. So totally dependent on what field you want to. But the most important thing is that you cannot submit any application for doctoral schools until you've had a proper good discussion with some of the professors, and that there's basically a go-ahead from one of the professors there. But a lot of doctoral schools to choose from, so do take a look at Tampere University website for doctoral schools for further information. All the contact is there.
Thank you, Johanna. How about it at Satakunta, Johanna? Oh, Kalyani, you want to start first?
No, it's okay.
Okay, so maybe Johanna, you can explain more on that in Satakunta, maybe.
Well, I think because we are in University of Applied Sciences, we don't have doctoral level studies here, but we have got master programs which are to be done online. So that's what we can offer here.
Okay, thank you. And Kalyani?
Yes, research in Sweden is more like a job position. So the students have to be funded and they have to apply for a position when there is one and they can apply through our website in vacant position. Usually doctoral educations in Sweden is not like we are open every intake or every year or so. So yeah, they have to keep track of the positions that we have often. And if there is also some opportunities if they are self-funded, but then they need to contact a particular research school that provides similar kind of doctoral education, and that information is also available on our webpage. It's just when they search on research, they will also have the different groups that we are working on research. And most likely we have our research profile areas right now are health innovation and smart cities, which we believe is current and the future of the innovation.
Thank you so much. Okay, that was the last question, I would say, from the participants. But if any of you still have some questions, don't forget to visit the university virtual booth outside. We are almost coming to the end of the session, and I would like to give the remaining time for each of our speakers here to maybe describe or mention anything special about each of your university to the participants. Okay, I would start first. I think Kalyani, you can share on Halmstad University.
Yes, I would just say that most of the international students are sometimes scared to come to Halmstad or come to a different country, but you don't have to, because we have a lot of support for the international students. And yes, when you're here, just try to have a collaboration with other international students and other companies or networks that will actually give you more opportunities in future. And Sweden is a quite safe country, and we all speak English. Even if you go to a supermarket or if you just walk on the street, everybody speaks English. It's more or less a bilingual country, so you do not have to hesitate about the language issues. But of course, if you're interested, we have SFE, that is for immigrants who can learn the Swedish language as well. Would you like to add something, Stig?
No, I mean, I just think you should really look into carefully the Nordic countries, Sweden or Finland or other our neighbors, because it's a fantastic place for studies and living. And like Kalyana said, I mean, traveling alone from another part of the world to here, maybe if you're a woman or maybe you are reluctant or your family are reluctant to let you go, but you should not worry. I mean, problems are everywhere in the world, but I strongly believe to a lesser extent in our part of the world. But in the case if something happens to you at the university or in this or in the city, there are I forget the word. I mean, there are structures in the society to help you and protect you. To discriminate someone or treat someone badly, it's taken very seriously, and it's a crime, and it will be dealt with from the university or the society. So you should not worry.
Thank you, Stig and Kalyani. I would maybe summarize that you don't need to be worried, since university would be there for you and make sure the equality is achieved as much as possible, even with the society as well. And since Halmstad University is in Sweden, I got a little bit of notes from study in Sweden as well, that you can try to visit their booth if you want to ask more on Swedish Institute Scholarship, since the awardee is going to be there. And Halmstad University is also on the list of SI scholarships. Okay, now I would give the turn to Satakunta University of Applied Science. Johanna, you can share on that. Yeah.
Thank you. So this is Satakunta University of Applied Sciences in Finland, and we are offering you quite a high quality of education. So as I told before, we have got 13 degree programs in English. 9 of them are on bachelor level, and we are fully licensed, and programs are audited too. And Satakunta is a very industrialized area. And what I forgot to mention earlier is that we have got enterprise accelerator here too. So if you want to start your own company while you are studying here, the teachers will support you with that too. And in sum, as we say, our university, we have got the best education according to the survey of the Finnish Ministry of Education and Culture. for those graduated from University of Applied Sciences from 209 to 220. And we have got the highest employment rate outside the metropolitan area in Finland. Our university has 6,000 students from 76 nationalities. And as told before, the studying is a mix of theory and practice. And we are offering wide range of scholarships too. And what else? I think that's mainly that. So our web address is samk.fi/English. And please visit our website. It's very large one. You can find information there too. And then we have a general email address box called admissions@samk.fi if you want to ask something more. Thank you.
Thank you, Johanna. So that was the description about the Satakunta University of Applied Sciences. Everyone can write down the link, but I will also share to you right after the talk show. And yeah, last but not least, Johanna, please share more to us about Tampere University.
Thank you. So Tampere University is the second largest research university in Finland. We are actually a young university because we were established in 2019, but then again, we have a long history because we are a merger of two universities in Finland with long histories, University of Tampere and Tampere University of Technology. So that made us the second largest research university in Finland. We offer all kinds of different education levels, as I have mentioned here. So if you're looking for architecture, educational sciences, anything in engineering or anything like that, do visit our website or booth to learn more about it. Our university is really the one where research and education go hand in hand. So all of our education is based on the research and what is happening globally. And what Tampere is specifically, the city of Tampere is specific about, is that we are the most student-friendly city in Finland. And this is said by the students themselves. So they vote us almost annually as the most student-friendly city in Finland. So we're very proud of this. Every sixth student that you see, citizen in Tampere that you see is actually a student in one of the institutions in the city. So it's a very young and vibrant city to live in. You have all these options that you have in academics, but also outside academia. So a lot of our students are active in different guilds and clubs and organizations, which is an integral part of the integration that we talked about earlier on. But also there's life after graduation. We support our students strongly in whether they want to do research in future or if they're looking to go into work life with the different organizations and or especially the companies in Tampere area. Of all the Finnish research universities, our students have the highest employability rate at the moment, and majority of our graduates stay in Tampere or at least in Finland to further their careers and further their studies. So Tampere University does offer a lot of different options, whether you want to apply now or maybe in future. So if you are looking to apply to Tampere this year for masters, the application starts in December, on the 8th of December, and then ends in mid-January. And if you're looking to further start your academic career with us, so for international bachelors, the application period is in January. And of course, you might be thinking about maybe in few years that you want to maybe come to Finland and Tampere. So do keep in contact with us, come to the booth, and we'll help you to, for example, subscribe to our newsletter, where we will always every year tell when all the information is available and who to chat with when you want to learn more. And most importantly, I want to finish off by inviting you to come to our booth, because at, I think it is 4 p.m. Jakarta time, we'll be giving a small presentation about this university. And like I mentioned, I'm so proud of her, our student, and now PhD student Camelia will be there also to tell her about her studies at master's level, about her life in Tampere, and she's the best resource to tell you about Tampere University and the city of Tampere. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Joanna. So I would also add a little bit, like I mentioned before, I would give the link of each universities into the screen now for all the participants who want to know more about the universities. And yeah, here they are. I think you can already see that on the screen. Everything starts with www. For Halmstad University is hh.se/English. And for Satakunta University of Applied Sciences, you could check on samk.fi/en. And the last one for Tampere University, you could check on tuni.fi/en. Please write down the link and check their website directly or go to their virtual booth to talk with them as well after the session right now. Okay, that was it. And we finally come to the end of the session. And I'd like to thank Stig, Joanna, Johanna, and also Kalyani for all the interesting discussions. We have received a lot of information from all of you. And thank you for all the participants as well that are participating in this auditorium. Little note and reminder as well before we close the session, don't forget to visit the virtual booth outside of this auditorium. You can get as much as information about Halmstad University, Tampere University, Satakunta University of Applied Sciences, and other universities that you are interested in to study. And you can chat with the representative directly. Okay, on behalf of the EHEF 2021 organizer, thank you everyone for joining us today and see you on the next talk show. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon to those of you who are in Indonesia, and good morning to our respected speakers in Europe. I would welcome everyone here to the EHEF Indonesia 2021 Institution Talk Show, and thank you for your time in joining this auditorium. A little introduction about myself. My name is Suchi, and I'm an alumni from one of the universities in Europe, but a former EHEF attendee as well, and I will be your moderator throughout the session at Auditorium 1 today. The topic of the session right now is affordable and high quality education in Eastern Europe, and we are very honored to have the three representatives from three universities that are already showing in your screen. The first one is the Babes Bolya University. I hope I mentioned that correctly. It's located in the city of Cluj-Napoca, which is a public university in it's in the Romania. Thank you very much for helping me on that. And also the next one is we will have the representative from University of Pax, located in the city of Pax. And the last one we will have West University of Timisoara, which is located in Timisoara as well. Okay, we will go now. I think before we get started, for all attendees, you will have the opportunity to submit questions to the presenters by typing your questions on the side of your YouTube screen. And you may send the questions at any time during the talk show, but we will collect them and address them during the Q&A session at the end of the talk show. Last but not least, for your information, the meeting will be recorded. And yeah, since everyone is already here, let me welcome our speakers from the three universities. First one, we have Professor Dr. Sergio, Ms. Koyu, the director of the Center from the International Cooperation of Babes Bolya University. Hi.
Hello, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Should I mention you with a name, or is it better with Professor Sergio, for example?
No, Sergio.
Sergio is fine.
Hello, I would like to salute also my colleagues, Angelica and Roxana, of course.
Hi.
Thank you. Yeah,
Hello.
and I would introduce as well, we have Angelica Hegedus here, the International Relations Coordinator from University of Pax. Hi, Angelica.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the lovely invitation. It's great to be with you today, and I hope everyone will enjoy this talk show.
Thank you. Last but not least, we have Roxana Diaconescu from the West University of Timisoara. Roxana is the head of Office of Global Cooperation, International Students and Diaspora.
Hello, everyone. My name is Roxana. I'm very happy to be here with you, even in an online format. And I hope that that today's session is going to be very fruitful. So thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much, everyone. Welcome, and I hope you all are doing well, even though it's still morning there and on Saturday. We have this talk show, but yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. And I would start by asking a question on the talk show, and I'll choose each one of you to answer later. Okay, or we can start our talk show now. Yeah, the first question would be about, from your perspective, what is the advantage of studying in your country or eastern part of Europe overall for students? Maybe we could start from Roxana.
Yes, thank you very much, Sushi, for the question. I think that a major advantage of studying in the eastern part of Europe is, of course, the culture, obviously, and the very reduced tuition fee prices compared to Western Europe, so to say. Of course, there is a competitive, so to say, educational offer even in the Eastern European region. But nonetheless, compared to the prices that we might find in different countries from the Western side, Romania, Hungary, and very many other countries that can be situated more or less into the Eastern European zone can definitely help students support support them with the financial aspects. So apart from the culture and the financial aspects, of course, there are many other advantages, such as let's say the language, such as the idea of learning more about the specific nationalities in this region. So
thank you, Roxana. What do you think about that, Angelica?
So I completely agree with this aspect. So the new cultural environment is definitely a new experience that students should experience, moving away from home, being independent, experiencing new culture, meeting with new people, new students. At the University of Pécs, we have a large international community with nearly 5,000 students. So they're not just meeting the Hungarian culture, but they also meet with many other students as well from all around the world. So it's just such an experience that students should enjoy here. And the other aspect that I would like to highlight is the affordability of the programs and the living in eastern part of Europe. So it's highly competitive compared to other European countries.
Thank you, Angelica. And Sergio, you could add more on that, I would say.
Yeah, I agree very much with my two colleagues. We've got more affordable education than in Western Europe, for instance. We've got also multicultural environments, and Cluj is one of the cities with a very wide multicultural experience, and our university, as well as the other two universities that are presented here, are very much open towards welcoming international students. I would like to add also something else. You know, in Eastern Europe, we've got an experience that is different from the experience of Western Europe. We had also a very troubled past, like many countries in Africa, in Southeast Asia, and I think that people here understand better the challenges of people who have not been used to very high levels of standard in the past, that have an experience that was to some extent difficult. And because of that, they are much more able to understand, to receive, and to integrate people coming from the South globally than maybe some other countries in Western and Northern Europe who have been used only with very high standards of living and with a very smooth kind of development, at least during the second half of the 20th century.
Thank you very much. So affordable education was the key words, multicultural, and it's basically open towards international students. I would summarize that. And something that I missed in the beginning was, I apologize for that. I would mention again, University of Pécs is located in Hungary. It's Pécs or Pécs. It's Pécs, right? Yeah, thank you.
It's Pécs.
It's Pécs. Okay. University of Pécs is located in Hungary for everyone, and Babes Bolya University is in Romania. The same with West University of Timisoara. So that's why we were talking about eastern part of Europe. Okay, we go to the next questions. Could you maybe give any tips for students to improve their chance of admissions in your country, in your university? We could start from Sergio.
Yeah, thank you very much. In order to have a successful admission in our university, I think that the main thing to retain is that people have to be very careful when applying, to choose very carefully the program. And we've got a very wide offer of studies, more than 50 programs in English, several programs in French, also numerous programs in German and in Hungarian. and because of that, it could be that people commit some mistakes when choosing the program that they wish to attend, or the language, because of our wide offer in terms of linguistic approach. So we will be rather insisting on the administrative aspect when choosing. Be careful and pick your program as you should. And I think that this is a wider message for all the students applying for universities. They have to know from the very beginning where they want to apply. They have to know a little bit about the program of study when applying. And of course, we are very much available to answer all the questions. We received, for instance, this year, tens of thousands of questions. It was amazing in terms of curiosity, but also in terms of really people who wanted to apply for study. So all these elements have to be taken into consideration when applying for studying in our university.
Amazing answers, Sergio. Thank you. What do you think about University of Pécs, Angelica?
So I completely agree with Sergio on this one. So it's very important that the students choose carefully the subject which they are interested in. And the best way to show that they are interested in the given subject is the motivational letter. So it's a very important aspect when they complete their application form, that they submit a motivation letter that truly reflect on the student motivation, why they want to study the specific subject. Also the preparation for the Skype interview or the entrance exam. So we need to see that the student actually prepared for it and ready to take these examinations or this admission process through. And I also would like to mention the good level of English as well. So the students who apply for our programs should have a good level of English, or they can also start with our preparatory programs.
Thank you. And how about you, Roxana?
I totally agree with my colleagues here. And after quite some years of experience in dealing with applications, I've noticed that a key element into, let's say, improving the chances of admission is trying to apply as early as possible. Students, like everyone, have a tendency of leaving everything on the last minute. So that's not necessarily the best thing to do. I think that it's very important to document yourself properly concerning, obviously, the location of the university, the study programs that it offers. Try to participate in different events that that particular university is organizing, such as the open days at, I don't know, a specific type of university. For example, this year we've managed to organize at West University of Timișoara 2 such events, but in an online format. And I think that apart from the pandemic context that has, I don't know, stirred up the curiosity of students compared to the last years, I think that the idea of being able to participate at these online events and learning more about the university in advance gave them the boost to try to see exactly whether they would fit in, whether they would manage to apply, and so on and so forth. I think, as I was saying in a nutshell, and it's important to participate in the promotional type of events that the university is offering and to try to apply as early as possible. And always double check the website or the emails that you're receiving so that your application has all of the documents and not just a couple of them. Yeah.
Thank you, Roxana. So visit the website of the university, make sure that you are not applying above the deadline. So make sure you have applied before the deadline, and also ensure your English level of tests, English scores, and choose carefully the subjects. That was the answers. I would summarize that. And yeah, I'm interested more on the local language, since Romania has its own local language, same as Hungary. Do you think there is an opportunity for students to learn the local language while they are studying in your university? Angelica, maybe you could start?
Yes, of course. So, yes, our students has the opportunity to start their Hungarian language learning at the university. It is their choice to apply for our modules to study Hungarian, and this option is open for all of our faculties. We also have scholarship students on the Stipendium Hungarian Scholarship Program. To those students coming to study at the university with the scholarship program, they actually need to take 2 semester of Hungarian learning as well. So they are asked to learn some Hungarian while they are here. Also, how I mentioned earlier, it is most of the students, fee-paying students, it's their choice of learning Hungarian because they can just go around with their English as well. So we have this large international community, and our students feel comfortable to speaking English.
Great, Angelica. How about it in West University of Timisoara, Roxana?
I think that one of the main things that the university can offer is, of course, the language programs, especially the language of the specific country. West University of Timisoara, as many other universities in Romania, offer a Romanian language preparatory program in which the students have to learn Romanian in 9 months, an academic year. And they have to familiarize themselves with the specific terms that they will be using further on after finishing this language program. So, for example, if you're interested in studying, let's say, economics after finishing this language program, you will be trained to use the specific terms for economics. Of course, if you want to study medicine, then you will be studying, obviously, Romanian medical terms, and so on and so forth. It's part of the practical way of integrating students, of course, in the community and in the academic community as well. So the Romanian language preparatory program offers this possibility. The prices, as far as the tuition fee is concerned, for example, at West University of Timisoara, 1 year of the language Romanian preparatory program, the module in itself, is in the same amount as any other regular year of study program. So it doesn't differ. It's not more or less. It's in the same amount. And we have very many good testimonials and experiences with our students. They love our professors. They're very keen on to learning Romanian. And, you know, the most satisfying aspect is that when they get admitted, they come at my office to, you know, meet me and for me to give them some specific administrative forms, and they don't know Romanian at all. And by the end of the academic year, mostly in June, July, up to September, when they come at the end, they're like talking to me in Romanian, and wow, this is like so impressive. Of course, it depends a lot on them as well and on their motivation, whether they want to improve it or not. And so yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I would say that's a very great information that students can really maximize their chances on learning the language.
They can actually. It's fantastic. We do have a student from Indonesia who has already managed to speak Romanian, and she's like so polite and nice, and she's always speaking to me in Romanian. And when I'm trying to speak to her in English, because sometimes I feel like she's struggling and she's doing her best, she's like, no, please let me speak in English. In Romanian, sorry. No English, just Romanian. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super great. How about it in Babes-Bolyai University, Sergio?
Yeah, actually it's Babes-Bolyai University, but it doesn't matter too much. Yeah, we have also the preparatory year of Romanian language, and of course lots of students. We had like 1,000 applications this year. It was the people were very numerous trying to get into the preparatory year. Also because it offers further on the opportunity to study in Romanian and in Romania in different fields, from engineering to medicine and so on. In addition to that, I would like to mention that Babes-Bolyai University is a multicultural university, in that we don't have only Romanian language as a language that we teach, but also German and Hungarian, because university was the result of a past of these three ethnicities living in the heart of Transylvania. And because of that, we have a wide offer of education in all the traditional languages in Transylvania, besides, of course, the international languages we teach here. And the degree of satisfaction of students is also measured by the fact that afterwards they recommend the university internationally. And this reflects, of course, the fact that courses of language satisfied their needs, not only courses of Romanian language, but also of German and Hungarian, in order to get them in the mood of the local and regional cultures. And last but not least, we have an Indonesian corner in our university. We inaugurated it with the ambassador of Indonesia, and actually the head of the Association of Indonesian Students in Romania is one of our students. This allowed us also to open to cooperation with the Indonesian universities, of course, and we settled common programs with several universities. I have in mind here, for instance, Yogyakarta and Surabaya, among others. So we try to be as inclusive as possible, and this tradition of building foreign cultural centers in the university brings a part of the foreign cultures in our university, but also represents a visit card of our university abroad.
Thank you very much for the comprehensive information, Sergio. So not only Romanian, you can even learn German and Hungarian there. That's very nice information. Okay, so the next question would be more of the exchange studies opportunities. How about the exchange study universities in your university? We can start from Roxana.
Thank you for the question. So concerning the exchange programs, we have a large variety of such possibilities, ranging from the Erasmus scholarships. I'm not sure how familiarized Indonesian students are with the Erasmus program, but the Erasmus program is basically a European program designed into offering, so to say, scholarships for exchanges for students abroad, either for 1 semester or 2 semesters. And we do have such possibilities for students to come and join us for 1 or 2 semesters and try to experience learning at our university. Of course, there are other possibilities as well. At the International Relations Office, on the global cooperation side, so to say, we do have memorandums of understanding that we sign with different universities. We do have some memorandums or bilateral agreements signed with different universities in Indonesia. And we can help students try to come for an exchange program at our university based on that particular bilateral agreement, based on what the two universities are settling and deciding what and who is offering exactly what. So maybe West University of Timișoara will be offering free accommodation and free access to classes without paying anything. And maybe when our Romanian students go to Indonesia, maybe our partners could do the same. And in this way, we can help each other into spreading this possibility. Also, West University of Timișoara has become part of the UNITA or UNITA program. It's a program that includes several universities in Europe and is trying to help students, give them the possibility to study in rural areas. There are very many people who are not, let's say, interested in studying in the city anymore, but are trying to learn on how to accommodate themselves with the lifestyle in the countryside of Romania, which is very beautiful. And they can learn there and they can help develop projects into supporting sustainability and the environment. And this is also something that can be done throughout an exchange program. So there are basically 3 or more possibilities into joining us in Romania and Timișoara. If you have any thought, or if the students have any thought in applying, they just have to send us an email, and we will definitely find a solution for them to try to come in an exchange program to our university.
Thank you, Roxana. How about in Babas Bolya University, Sergio?
Yeah, we've got also, of course, a very wide network of partners, especially within the Erasmus program Roxana mentioned. We try to enlarge, besides the European Union, this program, and we included in the Erasmus program numerous countries of the world. Indonesia is among them. So exchanges under this framework, which is actually quite attractive also from the financial point of view for the students, are possible. We've got also several programs of double degrees with numerous universities in Europe, in Germany, in France, in the Netherlands, in other parts of Europe. So students can spend 1 semester or even 1 year in the partner university, depending on the program. And there are facilities for, including financial facilities, to help them to integrate and to take the respective period of time there. Also for the more advanced students like MA or PhD students, there are lots of research networks allowing them to conduct exchange programs during their stay in the partner universities. And of course, this could be very interesting for the applicants for the MA programs outside the European Union, because there are programs financing their possibility to enroll in Babes-Bolyai University and then to spend a semester or a year abroad in one of our partners in doing more research and internships there. And last but not least, we are also part, we just joined Utopia, another alliance, European Alliance of Universities, with very prestigious partners. And we are trying now to build this cooperation, these double degrees and these other types of cooperation with them. They include universities of Warwick in UK, Venice in Italy, Barcelona in Spain, or Paris Cergy in France. So cooperation and internationalization are among the most important elements that we stress in our university. And of course, this reflects in the education of our students, who are really very much encouraged to spend as much as possible, at least 1 semester in one of our partner universities.
Thank you, Sergio. That's a lot of opportunities for students for an exchange there that you have mentioned. How about in University of Pécs, Angelica?
There is no difference from the other 2 universities. We also love to get involved in international activities. And University of Pécs is one of the most internationalized university of Hungary. Just to give you some keywords, we are involved in Erasmus Plus International Credit Mobility. We also have 75 plus bilateral agreements in 4 continents. We also run a study abroad program and get involved in university associations. So there is plenty of opportunity for our students to not just discover Hungary, but also get involved in further international opportunities while they're studying in Hungary.
Great. I hope everyone has written down all the information mentioned before, because there were a lot of them and it's very interesting for them, I would say. And we have already several questions from the participants, but I would go for the last one from my side. Maybe you could share a little bit of your connection with industry players that would be an advantage for students after their study. We could start from Sergio.
Babes-Bolyai University in Cluj is placed in the city center, and Cluj is placed in the center of Transylvania. Cluj became an IT hub, one of the most important, if not the most important, IT hubs of Transylvania. This is also because of the fiscal facilities that people have when working in the IT industry in Romania. And this, of course, invited us further on to ensure a very close relation with the IT industry, especially, and to co-develop programs. So people in the IT industries, the representatives of the enterprises themselves are not only in partnership with us, but they not only offer internships to the students, but also participate in the teaching program of our university, so that people who graduate are really prepared to join directly these enterprises. Apart from the IT industry, with whom we have a very close relation because of the particularity of the presence of this industry in Cluj, we also concluded several agreements with major players in Transylvania, from the automobile industry to pharmaceutical companies, and we try as much as possible to develop a close relation with the social and economical environment. That's why we have a vice rector of the university specialized in attracting contracts with this environment, and in this way students who come in our university are from the very beginning invited to think and to work in partnership with our enterprises, with our actors in the civil society, not only in terms of let's say industrial production, but also in terms of preparing careers on a longer term. We try to build these careers from the BA through the MA to maybe the PhDs from some of them, by integrating them on the local, regional, and increasingly on the European labor market.
Thank you, Sergio. That was a lot of support from Babospolia University for students. And how about it in University of Pécs, Angelica?
So our university also support our students to getting ready for the labor market and the world of work. So we support our students through helping them developing their competencies. Just to give you a fact, in 95.5% of the respondents of the graduate career tracking 2018 found a job immediately after graduation or within a couple of weeks. So that showed that most of our students find jobs quite quickly after finishing their studies, or they go back to continue their future career or in education and or starting working. Itself, when looking at companies and the relations with the industry players, it's difficult to respond in one sentence or even with few, because we have 10 faculties at the University of Pécs, and they all have their own connections.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and Roxana, how about it in West University of Timisoara?
Well, like my colleagues have already mentioned, it's more or less similar in Timisoara as well. West University of Timisoara is a comprehensive university, meaning it has a lot of fields of studies. We have 11 faculties, and therefore each faculty is trying to establish their own collaborations with different industry partners in our city, and not only. So it can be also throughout the country, or in Europe, or even in the United States. For example, our Faculty of Economics and Business Administration, if Cluj-Napoca is the IT center, so to say, we are very much focused on business, so to say, in Timisoara, and our Faculty of Economics and Business Administration, as well as other faculties, organize study programs which include a compulsory internship or practice in the subject area of the study. Therefore, our university has numerous partnerships with the non-governmental, governmental, and private sector in order to support these internship modules. Each of the partnership is governed by a bilateral agreement for this specific purpose. Of course, there are other activities which involve institutional cooperation with these sectors, as they are handled under the supervision of a vice rector, like in Cluj-Napoca. So we are definitely working on this aspect, and we are organizing ourselves. Our hierarchy is designed in such a way in which to focus on each type of the levels that might help the students to integrate and to try to find a job later further on. For example, Timisoara has been elected to become the European Capital of Culture in 2023. Therefore, we are trying to attract international citizens, and we are also trying to help them stay for a longer period so that we can increase our multicultural level, so that we can organize different economic activities or artistic activities. Even the students from the faculties of arts and design, they are definitely involved in all kinds of projects designed for this specific purpose, you know, to help Timișoara develop as an artistic and as an economical city. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Roxana. I believe that every university here really wants the best for the students after their study as well. So there are a lot of supports that you don't need to worry about that. So we can go directly now to the Q&A session since we already have several questions over there. I'm gonna read, okay, the first one is, hello, is there any requirement to take the Romanian language class before take the master degree of food processing and control? Okay, this one is for Babesbolia University, for Sergio, because this course is taken in Romanian language and yeah, in Romanian. Yeah, how, Sergio, you can answer that.
Thank you very much for this question. Yes, because the MA program is entirely in Romanian and only in Romanian, you need to go through the preparatory year we discussed about here before joining the MA program. So it's a 9-month preparatory year of Romanian language, and after this the student would be really able to follow the lectures in Romanian. This being said, of course, people are quite aware of the fact that after 9 months you cannot speak perfectly Romanian, so there is a degree of indulgence concerning the level of language per se, provided the student, of course, is very serious in continuing the studies in that MA program.
Thank you, Sergio. I hope that answered the question. And the next one is for Sergio and Roxana again. Can international student able to work part-time while studying in Romania? Roxana, maybe you can start. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So yes, definitely they can work part-time. There's actually a legislation established by the Service for Immigration, by the immigration offices in our countries, that states the fact that at the national level, international students are allowed to work only part-time. So they're not allowed to work full-time. And of course, they can find easily part-time jobs in the specific areas that they're searching, or if not in the specific areas, at least a part-time job that could help them support themselves for some time. So yeah, it's definitely possible, but only part-time. Yeah.
Thank you, Roxana. You have something to add, Sergio?
Yeah, maybe that we gather students who are physically present, of course, talking about this period of pandemics where not all the students are present, but we gather those who are present by generally November, so this time of the year, and we present them the opportunities for working part-time every year, and this also helps them to orientate. And also I think that we have to mention that generally MA courses in Romania, at least in our university, are in the afternoon, and they are on purpose put on in the schedule in the afternoon, so as people can have a part-time job maybe in the morning. So plenty of possibilities to work part-time.
Thank you, Sergio. Maybe a bit more information on how many hours actually when it comes to part-time work in Romania. You can mention on that?
Yes, as far as I know, it's 4 hours.
4 hours.
Yeah.
Thank you.
4 hours per day, so it means half of the norm of 8 hours per day.
Yes, we usually work 8 hours per day as a full-time job, and for the part-time it's 4. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So next question is for Angelica. Hello, University of Pécs, Hungary. I'm interested in getting master's degree in education and teaching. Is the course taking place using Hungarian or English? So yeah, Angelica.
So we have many programs delivered in the English language. So we have 70 plus programs delivered in English. including programs in a variety of fields. So I would just recommend to go to our website and checking out all the programs. It's all of them states the study language of the programs.
Thank you. I will mention the link of each university's website after our talk show, so everyone please don't worry on that. Next question is the, okay, it's related to Stipendium Hungaricum Scholarship. So I guess it would be for Angelica. What is the fastest way to find the right professor who is in line with our research topic? I plan to apply Stipendium Hungaricum Scholarship for PhD. You have anything that? Yeah.
Yes, of course. So first of all, I would recommend to connect to the faculty directly. So find the faculty's coordinator who can talk to you about your research topic, and then you can move forward with the further applications. But it's very important that you establish that relation before the application, because it can speed up the process, and then they can also give you further advice how you can move forward.
Thank you, Angelica. Next question is for Sergio and Roxana. Are West University and West University Timisoara and Babes Polya University integrated with Romanian government scholarship? Thank you. Yeah, Roxana, you can start.
Yes, definitely. We have at a national level. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Romania is definitely trying to support this initiative by offering a number of scholarships on a yearly basis. So we do offer this possibility, but the condition is for you to, for the students, obviously, to enroll for the Romanian language preparatory program, first of all, learn the Romanian language, and further on study in Romanian. So in order to obtain a scholarship in Romania, you definitely have to study in Romanian afterwards as well. This is like the compromise that the Romanian government is doing, so to say. If you do want to benefit from this possibility, then you have to study in Romanian. And of course, you are exempted from paying the tuition fees. You are offered free accommodation in the student campus throughout the whole years of studies, and even you will even receive a monthly scholarship. So you will have all the benefits in doing this. The only thing is that you have to study under Romanian. Yeah.
Thank you. Sergio, you have something to add on that?
Yeah, maybe just to exemplify that these programs are quite successful. I am myself a PhD coordinator, and we recruited among our students who graduated the programs after getting the scholarship of the Romanian government. Several people from Kazakhstan, from Benin, and I presently, for instance, tutor students from these countries who had the opportunity to come to Romania and to study in Romanian, not necessarily about Romania, but to take advantage of the expertise, the local expertise and the regional expertise in order to develop their skills. And this is, to some extent, I think, an added value for people coming in this part of Europe, once again, with a particular kind of experience that is not necessarily the same that you can find elsewhere, and also with broader view, I think, a broader, more realistic view about the way things can work, especially in the relations between the individuals, communities, and the states. So yes, we are very open to welcome students who benefit of this scholarship, and of course they have to study in Romanian, but there are plenty of advantages of doing so.
Thank you very much, Sergio and Roxana. Next question is for Angelica. It's, yeah, how many students that accepted each year for the scholarship program in the University of Pécs?
So at the university, we have over 1,000 scholarship students who receive Stipendium Hungarian Scholarship, currently from almost 70 plus sending partners and engaged in the programs. It's specific to each of the sending partner how many students they can send to the universities as part of the Stipendium Hungarian Scholarship program.
Thank you so much. I think that was the last question that we have, since we are almost coming at the end of our session, but I would like to give the remaining time to our speakers here to maybe describe or mention anything special or promote your university to the participants. Okay, the first turn will be Sergio. You can start with that.
Thank you very much. So Babes-Bolyai University is one of the most dynamic universities in Central and Eastern Europe. It's the first ranking university in Romania. It's a 5-star university according to the QS ranking, and has a very wide offer of studies in different languages, in Romanian, English, Hungarian, German, French, and many other languages. For the international students, it has more than 42,000 students all in all, with a high degree of internationalization, 22 faculties. It's a comprehensive university. 23 cultural centers, from the Indonesian Cultural Center, for instance, going through the African Studies Center, and so on, up to 23 centers welcoming international students and trying to do as much as possible to integrate them locally. It's in the place of, it's in the heart of Transylvania, where there is a multicultural environment, and people have been so far quite satisfied about the level of our educational offer that we try to enhance every year in function of the feedback we've got from our international students.
Thank you, Sergio. That was amazing description about Babes-Bolyai University. And next turn is to Angelica for the University of Pécs. Angelica.
So University of Pécs is the oldest university of Hungary, founded in 3667. So we have over 650 years of tradition at the University of Pécs, with 20,000 students enrolled to the university. Out of this, 20% of them international students from 114 sending countries. So this shows how large international community we have at the University of Pécs, and also Pécs itself a student city. So it's catered for students, and it gives a great experience for our students to enjoy not just their studies but their stay while they are at Pécs. We also have more than 30 years experience delivering education in the English language, and we have 2,000 lecturers. So it shows that we are able to provide a quality education to our participants or our students. We also offering a wide range of programs, so 70 plus programs delivered in the English language by 10 faculties and the International Studies Center. We also have 8 dormitories located in the residential area of Pécs, as well as 7,700 square meter modern research space with high-tech labs at St. Auditorium Research Center. So there is many options for students to studying here and develop themselves academically and in terms of research as well. They have opportunities. Also, I would like to add that the University of Pécs ranked among the top 3 Hungarian universities and belonged to the leading 2.5% of international higher education institutions worldwide. We also have many international accreditations, and as we mentioned earlier, our education in Hungary is very affordable as well.
Thank you, Angelica, for the amazing description about University of Pécs. So the last but not least is for Roxana. You can talk more on the West University of Timisoara.
Thank you, Sushi. So for West University of Timișoara, we are definitely the biggest in the western part of Romania and among the biggest in Romania per se. Nonetheless, even if we are not the biggest university or we do not necessarily have the biggest number of students, we definitely are the most dynamic university in the sense that we are doing every day our best to improve and start new study programs and develop different partnerships with our institutional collaborators and so on. West University of Timișoara was founded in 1944 by a royal decree, and we have 11 faculties. As I was saying, West University of Timișoara is a comprehensive university. Therefore, if you're interested in studying mathematics or arts or chemistry or physical education or you name it, you can definitely find something that might fit your needs in one way or the other at our university. We have definitely very many material possibilities, laboratories, and of course the student campus. More than anything, we are definitely very inclusive and we are trying to support our students into reaching their full potential. What helps us what helps us as a university is definitely the city. Very many Erasmus students and not only very many international citizens have told us throughout the years that Timișoara has, and I quote, a vibe of its own. It's like it's something very attractive to the city that helps the international citizens integrate. Even our mayor is of German nationality. Therefore, we are definitely open to, let's say, multiculturalism and into integrating international citizens. And of course, the possibilities are numerous. We are going to be the Romanian, or we are going to be the European capital of culture in 2023. Therefore, if you ever try to visit Romania, please stop by at Timișoara and discover the activities that the city is preparing for a whole year. It's going to be a lot of festivities and a lot of events. Hopefully, if the pandemic is going to let us do that. And overall, I think that West University of Timișoara is something that can be discovered gradually. And in case you can participate in the events that we're organizing, trying to keep in touch with our website, trying to communicate with us in due time and so on. We are looking forward to meeting all of you. And the rest is the secret. Maybe you should discover it on your own when you're here. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Roxana. To add of everyone here, I would also give the link of each universities for all the participants who wants to know more about universities here. So please do visit www.ubbcluj.ro/en for Babes Bolyai University and visit international.pte.hu for University of Pécs. And the last one, please visit www.uvt.ro/en for West University of Timișoara. So yes, that was the link. And we finally come to the end of the session. I'd like to thank Sergio, Angelica, and Roxana for the very interesting discussion here. And we have received a lot of information from all of you today. I would also encourage all the participants to visit their virtual booth outside of this auditorium. Thank you as well for the participation on the auditorium as well. And as a reminder, don't forget to visit the virtual booth and chat with all the representatives directly over there. So on behalf of the EHEF 2021 organizer, thank you everyone for joining us and see you in the next talk show. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the EHEF Indonesia 2021 Institution Talk Show. Good afternoon to those of you who are in Indonesia, and good morning to our respected speakers in Europe. It's really great to see everyone here, and thank you for your time in joining this auditorium. A little introduction about myself. My name is Suchi. I'm one of the alumni from one of the Swedish universities. I was a former EHEF attendee as well, and today I will be your moderator throughout the session at Auditorium 1 today. The topic of this session is the top engineering universities in Scandinavia, and we already have 3 wonderful representatives from the universities that are already on your screen right now. The first one, we have Aarhus University, which is located in Aarhus, and a public university in Denmark. Next one, we have Chalmers University of Technology, which is located in Gothenburg and is a private university in Sweden. And the last one, we have KTH Royal Institute of Technology, which is located in Stockholm and is a public university in Sweden. Yeah. That was all the universities. And before we get started, for all attendees, you will have the opportunity to submit text questions to our presenters by typing your questions on the side of your YouTube screen. And you may send in your questions at any time during the presentation, but we will collect them and address them during our Q&A session right after our talk show. And last but not least, for your information, the meeting will be recorded as well. Yeah, since everyone is already here, let me welcome our speakers from the 3 universities. We have the first one, Sarah Graham, Communication and Recruitment from Aarhus University. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Suki. So nice to be here today.
Thank you. Good morning in Denmark.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, and next one we have Abhilash Ram, International Student Recruitment from Chalmers University of Technology. Hi, Abhilash.
Hello, Suchi. Nice meeting you. Thank you very much for having us here today.
Nice to meet you as well. And last but not least, we have Professor Bjorn Berggren from KTH Royal Institute of Technology. Sorry for that. Hi, Bjorn.
Hello and good afternoon, Suchi. It's fantastic to be here and a great opportunity to meet new students as well. Thank you very much for inviting me and KTH.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome, and I hope you all are doing well. And in this talk show, I would start by asking questions, and I'll choose each one of you to answer. So let's start our talk show now. Okay, the first one, maybe we will not go directly to the serious questions. I would just ask maybe more about what do you think is special about Scandinavian countries, like Sweden, Denmark, and what do you think is why Scandinavian countries is always on the high rank on life satisfaction, happiness, work-life balance, and a lot of things. Yeah, maybe Bjorn, you can start with that.
That's a big question, and thanks for asking. I would say there are a number of things I think separate Sweden and the Nordic countries from that of other countries. One being the work-life balance, which a lot of students and PhD students talk about. We do take things seriously, but we also find other values in life. And I also think that we are less formal and less of a hierarchy than other societies. So we tend to, people call me by first name or you, which we've sort of unheard of in many Asian countries. So, and also the high trust. We trust each other, we trust our government, and we trust organizations and institutions. These are some of the, and space. We do have a lot of space. Venture to the north of Sweden, you can travel for a day without seeing anybody but reindeers and what have you not, spruce and pine. Some of the things I would, on the top of my head, that separates the Nordic countries from other countries.
Yeah, I can confirm that. Like in Indonesia, we are more formal, and that's very good advantage in Sweden to be less formal and have a lot of space. And what do you think about that, Abhilash?
Well, I actually agree with Björn here. I was about to say Björn had, and then I realized I'm speaking Swedish, and that's not what I should be doing today. But I agree with Björn, and I think one of the things that kind of exemplifies this is also how I say it's Björn. I'm not saying Professor Björn here, just calling him by his first name. So that's how we interact in Sweden and in Denmark. Sorry, in Denmark. I mean in Scandinavia. I think we are fairly flat hierarchy. Another thing, in addition to what Björn has just spoken about, I think is also the fact that due to this lack of hierarchy, there is a possibility for students to interact with researchers and faculty on a first name and therefore friendly basis. And that kind of generates a lot of conversation, discussion, and arguments. And therein lies the engine for creativity and innovation. So unless you're able to criticize or to question status quo, you don't come up with something new. And I think that flat hierarchy is one of those things that kind of separates Scandinavia from the rest of the world. And that is also why Scandinavia is often on top of lists like the Innovation Index and things like that. And that, of course, then of course, once again, the flat hierarchy also leads to people having a rather chill attitude to life. And therefore having also this work-life balance, knowing when to take a break from work. And that drives also this whole creativity and being fresh in your mind. And, that kind of an outcome is very important for ranking lists like the Happiness Index or the Human Development Index and things like that. So I think one of the reasons why Scandinavia falls on top is one of the biggest reasons would be the flat hierarchy.
Great answer. Thank you, Abhilash. And how about you, Sarah?
Thank you. And I certainly agree with both of you. I think you hit the nail right on top of it. I think you're right that in terms of education, I think the students and the international students are sometimes into a big surprise when they arrive here, that they actually can interact and discuss and be part of an active, be part of an environment where you learn something. And I think you're right that the flat hierarchy and the equality is a big part of that. Yes, I think to get involved with research and research projects is really a big thing in learning and actively contributing to your own education. I also had a student saying like the flexibility and the freedom you then get can be a challenge, that you really need also to take charge of your own education. So there's a lot of freedom and the room to discuss, but that also means that you get a lot of responsibility yourself. And I think that can be a challenge to some, but when you get it and you grasp it, then I think you are in for really full experience doing your master's in Scandinavia.
I agree with Sarah here. I mean, the whole taking responsibility and therefore being treated as an adult, right? As an adult, as a self-sufficient and independent adult. That is something that is very common here. And me, I'm originally from India. So when I moved to Sweden, I studied at Chalmers. This was exactly what you say, Sarah, a surprise to me that, first of all, calling Björn, for example, right? Like calling somebody by their first name, that is a teacher of mine, is already a shock. But then the next step is, crap, now I have to actually take charge of my own life. I cannot be spoon-fed anything. Right? There is no hand holding.
Abhilash, did you find that stressful in the beginning, or was it a process of adjustment?
Absolutely. There is no question at all, because I mean, on the one hand, I have to keep remembering not to call somebody sir or professor. On the other hand, I have to also remember that while I'm doing that, there are opportunities that are in front of me that I must take. It's not going to be presented to me. Unlike back in India, where I was like, okay, you come, you sit down in class, my teacher will write stuff on the board. I must copy those things into my notebooks. I must memorize that, and then I must write it in an exam. That was my every day for 4 years, right? And then I come to Sweden and the whole thing goes the other way around. It's like, what do you think? The teacher asks. And I'm like, what do I think? I don't think,
Yeah, thank you, Abhilash. I think a lot of Indonesian students here can relate to Abhilash's story as well, because in Indonesia we have similar educational culture, I would say, but also overall when it comes to the cultural aspect. Great. Okay, now I think we can go to more serious question about engineering one. And yeah. Okay, when it comes to master in engineering, can students continue to study in engineering even though they were graduated from different field of study? Or maybe could you mention any of your program that perhaps student could come from other fields of studies? Yeah, maybe Abhilash, you want to start?
Oh, absolutely, okay. No issues. Well, I don't know. Feels like everybody wants to answer this question, but I mean, let me just start this off, and then I'm sure that we will all have important points to add. I think, first of all, the answer to this question is very much dependent on the university, and even within universities, it might depend on the specific schools that might have admissions processes that are separate. So it depends on the university to start with, and the program that you might be interested in. Some programs can have rather broad and flexible entry requirements, whereas other programs can be fairly strict. So it depends very much on what kind of program you're looking at. And I would venture to say that the more managerial type of programs might be more accepting of broader backgrounds, as opposed to more technical and more so even within engineering, there is engineering management, and that can accept a little more of a broader background as opposed to very specific engineering programs. Like if you were to take something in nanotechnology, then you must definitely come with a quantum mechanics background, otherwise it doesn't work for you, right? So I think that would be the answer to the question. And at Chalmers, we only have one university that's actually got a broad intake, and that's the program called Entrepreneurship and Business Design. It actually literally takes anybody. It will take you if you're a lawyer, if you're a designer, if you're an engineer or a scientist, one of those four, or even an architect, right? Like, so one of those five you can be and you can just start. But every other of the 38 programs, so we've got 38 programs, one takes everybody, 37, you need to have a specific background.
Thank you, Abhilash. Bjorn or Sarah wants?
Sarah, I think was waving her hand, sort of.
Yeah.
It's okay. I think you're right that in Scandinavia and also in Denmark, usually you have to have a very specific background to study engineering. And then there will be like one program where you can perhaps find more, like you said, like process. It could be projects management or like, yeah. And we do have one at Aarhus as well called Technology-Based Business Development, and it's part of our business school. So Aarhus University is actually a university where we have a lot of different faculties. So not only engineering, so we have also natural science and technical sciences, and it goes for them as well, that usually you have to have the background for the master's program, but we have a few, and you can always look at the admission requirements and actually see if they fit the profile you have. But usually, yes, at Aarhus University, you need to have an engineering background to study engineering.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. Bjorn, your turn.
Yeah, I second that motion. We are an engineering university, so you have to have a Bachelor of Science and Engineering to get started. I think we have 60 programs at present, all engineering. But as Abba said, we do have everything from nanotech to space. So depending on your particular interest, make sure that you qualify for. And if you're unsure about the requirements, all our program directors are super friendly people. Whenever in doubt, just drop them an email and say, can I clarify? Is this similar to what you're expecting? But otherwise, just go ahead. And we have different requirements, obviously, for different programs. Yeah.
Thank you, Bjorn. Okay, when it comes to the classroom session and the practical engineering studies, how do you, maybe you can share more on how does it go within the pandemic period? Do you still have the practical studies or only classroom session online?
I can start. I'm actually teaching 2 courses right now, or 3 courses right now. And woohoo, we're back on the main campus. I've actually been there for the entire pandemic. I have 3 kids, 2 guinea pigs, a wife, and a small apartment. So it didn't make sense to sit at home at work, right? But starting in August, we're back at our main campus. Everything takes place in classrooms, lectures. We do have some hybrid forms when that might be suitable. But a lot of our classes is sort of product design. We need wet labs and studios for architectural students. So they've been there throughout the pandemic. Some lectures might be using Zoom, but during my courses, I'm there every day, actually.
Thank you, Bjorn. Abhilash, maybe you can share?
Well, I think we're both KTH and Chalmers, we're in Sweden, and Sweden has had this one way of doing things. And I think for us in general, it has been pretty much the same as what KTH has had. So we've done what is hybrid during the last year. So the year that shall not be named, it's the Voldemort of years, right? So we had, you know, the hybrid format, which meant that any laboratory, any practical work had to be done in person, which is also why we mandated that students have to be present physically in Sweden. So that's the way we handled it. But now, as Björn says also, like, you know, since January, we've been successively coming back to campus and things have been getting more and more physical. So the digital side of things are reducing. However, like especially or exactly as Björn was saying, some of our teachers are super happy to actually do the hybrid thing even now, because then students get to see the recorded lectures again. So they're actually running a Zoom call anyway while they're doing their lectures in class with students sitting in the classroom. So they actually get the recorded lectures. So I just met a student like on Thursday who was telling me he studies nanotechnology, and he was saying, this is super cool because I sit in class, then I go back home and I watch the lecture again. So I get the lecture twice. Okay, interesting. People have time on their hands. But yeah.
Yeah, that's super great. How about it in Aarhus University, Denmark, Sarah?
Yeah, I think Denmark has handled the corona situation slightly different than Sweden. But I think during the spring, it was a hybrid. We had a hybrid form where a lot of our engineering students were back, of course, doing things in labs and doing the workshops that they needed to do. And then some course classes were taught online. But actually from the beginning of this semester and even our study start, we had it was back to normal, how you can say it. With students starting and having now every class is not, we don't have online classes anymore. So I know, because we've been discussing this with students perhaps arriving a bit later that wanted to attend online classes, and we don't do that at Aarhus University. It's actually on campus with your fellow students. And I just think a lot of both Danish and international students really have been looking forward to this, and so have we. So for now, there are no. We hope and expect that it will continue like this. But let's see. You never know. But for now, everything looks really good. In Denmark, almost everyone is vaccinated, and that makes it easier to handle the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we're back on campus. So that's really nice.
Great information. Finger crossed for a better situation on corona pandemic, right? So everyone could meet each other on campus. Great. Okay. When it comes to career possibilities, what maybe you could share what usually your graduates of engineering studies doing after their study, or maybe if you have some industry cooperation on that as well. I guess, Abhilash, maybe you could start sharing on that.
I was actually hoping Sara would start this one, but anyway, I mean, I think Björn and I have started pretty much every question except, yeah. Anyway, but I also wanted to, I just remembered all of a sudden while you were speaking, Sara, that I realized that one of my closest friends actually is doing her PhD at Aarhus. So yeah, so just saying that all three universities are awesome universities, right? So to answer your question, Suchi, as far as career is concerned and industry collaboration is concerned, Chalmers is actually pretty good at what we do, because we are ranked top 5 in the world and number 1 in the Nordics for industry collaboration through this ranking that's called the Leiden ranking list. It's Leiden is a town in the Netherlands, if I'm not mistaken, and a university there as well. So they have this ranking list where they look into the number of papers that are published in collaboration with industry. And we actually are top 5 in the world on that list and #1 in the Nordics for that. So we have a very deep connection with industry, especially also because Gothenburg is a where we are located is the city of Gothenburg, and it's a rather big area with a lot of companies here like Volvo, AstraZeneca, SKF, and Ericsson, and so on and so forth. So all of them are established here, and we're the only technical university here. So we kind of have a lot of contact with these companies. So there's a lot of industry connection. But that is not necessarily indicative of what students do after they finish, because that is actually a function of what the student wants to do afterwards, right? So as far as Sweden is concerned, they get to stay back for 12 months once they graduate. So they get a 12-month stay back period. And during this 12-month period, they can either start a PhD or they can start their own company even, which Chalmers will actually help their students. So we can actually help our students start their own businesses if they want to. And of course, they can find a job. And just recently, there was this economic report that was released that said that Gothenburg is on the upswing as far as employment rates are concerned, and on the downswing when it comes to actually availability of talent. So there is a gap over there, which we need to kind of fill. So that's a good situation to be in. So in general, our students are either entrepreneurs or doctoral students, or they become employees at either startups or at big companies. Like, for example, I don't know whether anybody's heard of Enride. Enride is this company that started building self-driving trucks, and it just arrived in the US recently, and it's actually an alumnus of Chalmers that started the company. So it's electric self-driving trucks, right? So things like that. So people do all sorts of stuff. It's kind of difficult to kind of put them all into one box and say all of our students become architects. No.
Great answers. Okay, I will go to Sarah first before Bjorn. Sarah, what's your take on this?
Thank you. Yeah, I think, again, Denmark and Sweden are so similar countries. We also, here at Aarhus University, discovered the big gap we have between talent and the job opportunities in this region. So that's why we closely, together with industry, actually are cooperating on trying to attract more talent, just not only for university, but actually for companies in this region. In this region, we have Lego, the small building blocks, plastic Lego building blocks, a really innovative company who employs a lot of our engineers. We also have Vestas. And I think at our engineering master's programs here, we have a huge focus on sustainability and innovation and how to solve some of the world's biggest challenges right now by having some technical solutions. And I think Vestas is a good, the windmill company is a good what do you call it, example of that. And also have a lot of engineering internationals working there. Of course, we have Novozymes, a lot of big companies that attracts international employment, internationals coming here just to work, but also our graduates end up working there. Because during the master's program, most of our classes, you can work together with companies, with industry on projects. So you will cooperate, doing things, get a problem from a company, you then try to do a solution while in class. The university also have career services, of course, and we have a focus on trying to connect with industry, connect with the companies. And in Denmark, at least, if you get a student job while you work here or while you study here, there's always a greater possibility that you will connect with industry, you'll get to know how it is to work in Denmark, and then go to work there afterwards. So part of creating a good CV here in Denmark and to stay in Denmark is also access to work during your studies. And a lot of our students are working at some of the big companies. Also Grundfos, which is a huge pump company. I just spoke to a student the other day where he was like, yeah, he's been working there as a student right now, and he was expecting to stay there. If he's not, as I said, not doing something to make it not work, then he'll probably stay and work there after he's been graduating from mechanical engineering. So I think a lot of it has to do actually with the way our students are taught in classes and the close interaction with companies and industry already during the program. So you're actually ready to go out and know and be part of the company when you graduate. You're not yeah, you are. It and then it of course depends on what your interest is, where you will go and work, because it is very flexible and you can specialize within a lot of fields within your studies. So it's up to you what you want to do, but we know that we would like for some of our internationals to stay in Denmark and fill up this gap you're talking about, because we really need engineers. And that's also why I think the unemployment rate right now in Denmark in general is 3.7%, but I think it's even lower for engineers, and I think it's 0 for computer engineering and computer science right now. So there is a big gap.
Thank you, Sarah. I think students here should really take notes on that. Denmark is looking for engineers. So yeah, that's important. Bjorn, your turn.
Absolutely. I totally agree with the two previous speakers here. And we do know it kind of what you do after graduation depends kind of your topic. We know from our alumni that a third continue to do a PhD. And that's also very much dependent on the topic. I'm within real estate and entrepreneurship, and less of our students actually pursue a PhD. We also know that 1 out of 7 start their own company. And that has been on the increase for quite some time now, at KTH or in the Nordic countries as well. I mean, we do have a well-functioning infrastructure around startups at KTH and Chalmers and Nordic as well, when it comes to funding, advice, what have you not. And the rest tend to move on to I mean, traditional manufacturing, ABB, I mean, Scania, Volvo, and the like. But also within services. I mean, a lot of the sort of unicorns from Scandinavia are within sort of payment systems, which is not traditionally engineering as well. So there's all opportunity, and I totally agree. I mean, there's a lack of engineering students within our societies today. I mean, to some extent, and we might move into that later on, but I mean, they are the answer to some of the challenges that face our societies today. So I mean, they are doing great. And the problem we have is that they tend to get a job before they're finished, right? So we have to pull them back, finish your master degree project, right? Before going out and earning big bucks on the market. So yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. Thank you, Bjorn. Okay, so when it comes to the application, how do you select your applicants to be admitted in your respective university? I'll start with Sarah now.
Thank you, Suki. I will speak now just for our engineering programs, but because as I said, Aarhus University is actually a comprehensive university. So if you're joining this session and you actually want to study anthropology or business or something entirely else, we also do have more than right now 58 study programs, master study programs in English. But within engineering, we do have 6 study programs. And usually, you need to have your English test, of course. It should be a TOEFL or an IELTS. The TOEFL should be 83, the IELTS should be 6.5. Then you also need to have a bachelor's within a relevant field. And now we discussed it before. So of course, if you want to study mechanical engineering, you need to have some courses within this field. So round about, I would say 30% of your classes or courses should be within mechanical engineering, but you can always look at the specific engineering program and learn more. You also need to have some mathematics, some very specific mathematics requirements. And that's actually about it. So there's right now, because there's such a big demand for engineers, there's no GPA. You don't need to have a specific GPA or a specific grade level. We look at your academic credentials. What did you do on your bachelor's? Does that match up with the master's degree you are going to do? Because it's going to be very specific, and there's some very specific requirements in order for you to do well. So the admission board here consists of researchers from, for instance, mechanical engineering. They will look at all the applicants for mechanical engineering, and they will look at your course descriptions and what you did on your bachelor's. And then they will decide if you have enough ECTS, so that's the European credits, to do well here. And then you will get an offer or you will get a rejection letter. So actually, it's pretty straightforward, I think, to apply. but you need to have the background. You need to have an engineering background to apply for our engineering study programs. So yeah, I hope that will answer the question.
Perfect. It's a perfect answer for students, I would say. Bjorn, how do you select your applicants at KTH?
I think we do it very similar all over Sweden. We do have a portal where you apply for all programs. And in addition to grades, we look at the quality of a university they come from. But also what we do find interesting is sort of a CV and motivational letter. I think that's very important. Why would you be interested in going from Jakarta, say, to Stockholm to pursue a career within nanophysics or whatever topic? And I think that's very, very important. And just as Sarah said, English proficiency, super important as well. And I think today we have an acceptance rate of 1 in 3 will be accepted to KTH, but enormous differences within program. We do have, as Sarah said, computer science. I mean, wow, you have to be lucky, smart and lucky to get a foothold within that program. Yeah, I think that's basically it.
Thank you, Bjorn. So Abhilash, what's your take on that from Chalmers University?
Yeah, it's not very different from what Bjorn was saying, right? Because as Bjorn was saying, Sweden has a national application system. So it's a centralized and nationalized, so to speak, application system, which means that any student from anywhere in the world has to first go to this national website, make a profile, make a choice or a set of choices, and then complete their application over there. And those applications have to be, like Sarah was also saying, very much oriented based on what kind of requirements each program states. So if you go to any of our websites, it doesn't matter whether you're going to Aarhus or whether you're going to KTH or Chalmers, you basically go to the university's website, you identify the program that you're interested in, you look at the specific entry requirements for that program, you look at this. Maybe there is something called a prerequisite, so whatever, but you check those courses that you should have studied and you make sure that you have studied those courses to that extent that is stated on the website. And once you've done that, then you make your application. You support your application with documentation, like, for example, degree certificates and transcripts and motivation letters and CVs. A letter of motivation, as far as Chalmers is concerned, is one of the most important documents. Right? So your transcripts and your CV, or sorry, your transcripts and your degree certificate are important, of course, because that's what sets the basis. That's what says to us, you've done what you're supposed to have done. But then how do you tell us that you want to study this program and why you want to do that? The only way you can do that is with a good motivation letter. And so writing a good letter of intent or letter of motivation, stating exactly why you want to study the program, how you plan on going through it, what you plan on doing after, right? Being able to put all of those 3 things in a focused, concise, and concrete manner will basically enable our admissions officers to take a decision on whether you are eligible to not only start the program, but also finish it, right? So the question is not whether you start studying at Chalmers. The question is whether you can finish a degree at Chalmers. So they look at not just your eligibility to just come in. Yeah. So that is the evaluation system. And then you have to understand that since it's a nationalized system, the central or the national application system first evaluates you on your English and your degree. And then each university that you apply to gets an opportunity to decide whether your credentials, as in the courses you've studied, are actually relevant or not. So the decision is made at the local level, the final decision, but the main filtration is done at the central level, where you are either eligible to be, applying to the universities in Sweden or not. So it's a slightly different process. And then, of course, each university gets to decide.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
because
please.
Now we're universities from Denmark and Sweden, because in Denmark, it's not a centralized application system. If you apply, for instance, we have DTU, we have Copenhagen University, we have Aalborg University, South Danish University, all of them have engineering study programs that could be relevant for you as well, besides Aarhus University, of course. But you need to actually do an application to each of the universities that you want to apply to. Then it's the same. It will, here at Aarhus, they look at it centrally. Do you have all the things in your application before they send it to the relevant study degree program that you applied for? And here at Aarhus University, you don't need to submit a CV or motivation letter for our engineering program. So that's also, I think, another thing. So always look at the university you're applying for, to look at the admission requirements. That's my best the best thing to do. Really study the study program you're interested in before, and then always ask the university or the head of department or who's the contact person, point of contact, because they will tell you more. Because I know it can be, if you apply for a lot of different universities, there'll be a lot of different things you need to consider.
Exactly. The process keeps changing, and the documentation requirements keeps changing, and all sorts of things change. So it's excellent advice there.
Yeah, pay attention to the university website and the program requirements. That's the key. Thank you, everyone. I think we already have several questions coming in from the participants. So we will go directly to the Q&A session and begin answering the questions submitted. The first one is from Gabriel. Hi, I'm Gabriel from Indonesia. How's the possibility of students that finish master specifically in nanomaterial or material chemistry to build an academic career or industrial career there? Ooh, okay, who wants to answer first? Okay, Abhilash.
No, the reason I want to answer it is because I actually studied nanotechnology for my master's, right? So back in 2009, I did my master's in nanotechnology, but at that time scales were a little bigger, and the program was called microtechnology and nanoscience. So I think over time, things have changed. The point that I'm trying to make here is that if you were to do a program within or studies within nanomaterials or nanotechnology or within material science or material chemistry, the opportunity to go into an academic career, so to speak, so doing a doctoral, postdoctoral, becoming a professor or whatever, that kind of a progression, a career progression, depends on what kind of thesis you pick up. Actually, so at the end of your studies, what kind of thesis you pick up, at least this is for Chalmers, I cannot really speak for KTH or who's in this particular case, but at Chalmers, it's very much a function of what kind of courses you've picked and what kind of thesis you do. Most often, to go into an academic career, regardless of program, regardless of background, if you do a one-year thesis, instead of a 6-month thesis, you're usually gearing yourself towards an academic career, because during that 1 year, you're doing a lot more research. You're doing it usually at the university, and thus you get a lot more connection. So it's all about networking. So you create a lot of networking opportunities with teachers and professors and researchers in your area. And that could result in the next step being a PhD, the next step being or a research assistant, and then a PhD, and then a postdoc or whatever, and so on and so forth. And the same thing applies, if you flip it, it applies to the industrial aspect. Because nanotechnology is that kind of a subject that can be applied to pretty much any area of science and technology, it depends on what kind of thesis you pick up. Once again, if you do a 6-month thesis at a company, now you're more or less gearing yourself for an industrial career. And that can be within paints or pharmaceuticals. I mean, it's literally in your hands what you're going to apply it to. It could be as so to speak, simple as tennis rackets to, you're making the nose cone for a spaceship. So it could be literally anything, right? Yeah.
Thank you, Abhilash. Bjorn, what's your take from KTH perspective?
No, I second Abhilash's motion here. I totally agree. And I think even though we have a 2-year sort of program, standardized, it's not standardized. I mean, it's your own interest that will govern what you do in your life. You have 6 months at your disposal to sort of dig deep into nanotech. And as Abhilash said, if you do it in collaboration with a company, I mean, that's usually your first job. And if you're more geared into continuing with academia, hang out with a professor. So it's more on your choices and your interests.
Thank you, Bjorn. Sarah, you have something to add?
Yes, I agree on the tech you do have. At the Aarhus University, we of course have our engineering study programs, but we also have a program in nanoscience. And yeah, if you are really interested in doing a PhD, for instance, we have the opportunity here at Aarhus University that you can actually start your PhD within 1 year of your master. So you start on your master, and if you're a top talented, great student and have an interest that the researchers find interesting as well, there's an opportunity actually to apply for a PhD already after 1 year. And then instead of a 3-year PhD, you have a 4-year PhD. Okay. So that's so if you're really into research and that's the way you want to go, that's I think that's an opportunity a lot of our students explore. And I think yeah, I think that's one of the things is that would be, yeah, you need to increase your network, but perhaps if you really want to do a PhD, you could actually start doing it on your master's instead of waiting till after your master's program is done. We also have research and development projects at our engineering study programs where you work together with a researcher on a topic that interests you. It could interest the researchers at the university, or it could be an interest at their company. And that's another great way of building up your network. So it's not an internship. It's more of you doing a small research project that you come up with together with industry and researchers. Another way to gear up to have a career in industry or within the university.
Super great. I think Abhilash, you want to add something?
Yeah.
Or?
No.
Yeah.
I actually have a question for Sarah. So at Aarhus or even in Denmark, is a PhD a paid position?
Yes. I suppose it is in Sweden as well.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
If you become a PhD here at Aarhus University, you are actually part of staff. So it's very competitive to get a PhD. And a way to do that is to start your PhD while you're studying. So your salary will not be as high as when you actually move further in your studies, but you will actually also get a salary doing your PhD after just 1 year of doing your master's. But you need to be a great student and have a relevant perspective on what you want to contribute to at Aarhus University.
Exactly. So because that is exactly how it is in Sweden, at least. I do not know. Maybe I'm right about KTH as well. Yeah. So in Sweden, it is a job, right? And once again, Björn, you got to correct me if I'm wrong, but in Sweden, the requirement to be able to start a PhD is that you have a master's degree. So you have to complete a 2-year master's degree in order to, or maybe, I don't know whether that's possible to do a 1-year master's degree, but at KTH and at Chalmers, we have only 2-year master's degrees, and those 2-year master's degrees have to be completed in order to be able to start a PhD. And those PhDs are jobs, and therefore you will not pay the university a fees, rather the university pays you a salary, and then you are a working member of society and of the university and paying taxes and things like that. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I guess it differs. So at Aarhus University, we have 3 types of PhDs. One you can start right after your bachelor's, and one you start after 1 year of your master's, and one you can start after your master's. So we hope to attract some more talent here before
they find Sweden.
Yeah, I think all the participants here should really take notes, especially those of you who wants to continue PhD study in Sweden or Denmark. Thank you very much. That was very great information. Next question is for Björn specifically. So what will happen when we are accepted at KTH, but we do not meet the residence permit requirements?
I have no idea, actually. But if you're admitted and you don't get a residence permit, I'm not sure how.
Yeah. I think it's like they don't get accepted in the immigration part or pass residence permit requirements.
Perhaps I can answer that, Suki.
Yeah.
I know at least for Denmark, I think it's similar to Sweden. Usually when you get accepted to a university, it would be really surprising if you wouldn't also get your visa, your student residence visa, your permit. Yeah. So if you get accepted to the university and you paid your tuition fee to Aarhus University, usually you just go along and you apply for your visa. And some of the cases I've heard of is if the Danish government, if they look at your
authority,
the migration authorities look at your application and think they're not really going to Aarhus University, Sweden to study. They're going there to do something else. They're not really interested in studying. And that would be based on an interview with you. But it's rarely I hear about it, especially if you are going to study on master's level and you already did your bachelor's degree and you're here to study. It's a rare case, I would say. So, but you would then have to contact the immigration authorities and talk to them about this, and then you will have to communicate with them. The university, Aarhus University, are not able to do anything. So if you actually get rejected, we cannot help you. So if you get an offer and you don't get your visa, then unfortunately, at least here in Denmark, we are not able to do anything. But as I said again, it really would be a rare circumstance if you heard it's so. I don't think I ever heard about it actually, but of course it can happen.
I would actually say that so once again, exactly like with Aarhus, neither Chalmers nor KTH can actually influence your decision. So if you have received a result that is a negative result, a university cannot step in to kind of rescue you in any way. However, since we're speaking to Indonesian students, I must say that I have never heard of one single case of an Indonesian student being rejected their residence permit. For Sweden, I have never heard of this for the entire country. So I'm not speaking about Chalmers, I'm not speaking about KTH. There are 30 other universities in the country, and I have not heard of a single case of an Indonesian student being rejected. So if you've received your admission and you've paid your tuition fee, or you have a scholarship and you apply for your permit, you're in, more or less, right? Like it has to be a really, really rare case that you actually got rejected.
That's a very relieving information for all the students here, all the participants here. Okay, I think this one is the last question that we have, and this is for Abhilash. Hi. So get ready.
Good right now.
Yeah. I want to ask about syllabus document requirements for applying masters at Chalmers. Should the document is official or acknowledged from the university?
Yeah, so this is going to be a rather long answer, just so you know, right? So I'm going to start off and I'm going to say this is a long answer, and I've been giving long answers already now, so the preface should tell you. But the thing about syllabus is that, yes, it has to be an official syllabus, as in the syllabus has to be provided by the university. Now, there are different ways in which you prove that it is from the university. On the one hand, it could have been a physical copy. It could have been a physical document that you received from the university, usually called a handbook. And usually then what you do is you scan the pages of this handbook and you submit it. But you will not submit the entire book, because the book might be 80 pages long, and admissions officers are not reading, Harry Potter here. There's a lot of pages there, and it's not necessary all of the pages. So what you do then is, regardless of whether it's a physical one or a digital one, you will only make available those pages which have the topics that were part of the prerequisites for that program that you're applying for. So if the program says you need mathematics, and inside mathematics, linear algebra and multivariable analysis, then you will only pick those pages that says linear algebra and multivariable analysis. You will not give us anything else, so to speak, right? Now, you scan this document and you will have to submit that. However, how do you prove that it is official? You have to have the cover page. The cover page, usually, if it's a physical document, then it usually has the logo of the university and things like that. So that's one way to go about it. Another way is you have your document or your syllabus, which is downloadable as a PDF on your university website. In that case, also, you can download the document, take out all the pages that you don't need, have that signed or sealed or whatever from one of the people at your university, scan and upload that. A third variation of this is if it is a web page on your university website. So it's not a downloadable PDF, it is as a web page on your website. In that case, what you do then is you have to do a Control-P, as in a print on your website, and download that as a PDF. So Control-P and save as PDF. So then what happens is this page, when it gets downloaded, has the URL of the website. And that's the way in which we can prove that is the official syllabus. So one of these three ways you have to do in order to prove that it's official. And no, you do not have to submit all the pages. Please don't do that. Our admissions officers will thank you several times over if you don't submit all the pages and only submit the pages necessary. And they will thank you once more if you add a cover sheet where you say, on this page, you will find this topic, on this page, you will find this topic, and on those pages, you highlight those topics. That's the answer to the syllabus question.
Great answers,
Hey.
very comprehensive, and all the variations needed for the student.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We still have several questions, but sadly, I think we cannot do that here. I would suggest everyone to visit their virtual booth outside of this auditorium and ask more to Abhilash, Sarah, and Bjorn. And since we are almost at the end of our session, I would give the remaining time to our speakers here to maybe describe or mention anything special or promote each of your universities. Okay, I would start from Sarah, Aarhus University.
Thank you. I was told I could share a slide, and I was bold, and I actually bought 3 slides. I will not talk about everything on this very comprehensive slide, but I think I just want to touch down on a few things. I think one thing is we actually have tuition fee waivers that are focused on talented Indonesian students. So when you apply for study program here at Aarhus University, you automatically also apply for tuition fee waiver. So so the admission board will look at your application, and they will at the same time look to see if you could be one of the candidates to get a tuition fee waiver. You would not get any living costs on this waiver, but your full tuition fee waiver for the full 2 years. I think another thing I want to just touch upon is the flexible curriculum that you would get here at Aarhus University, but I think it's also it's actually a Scandinavian thing that when you apply to a degree here, you actually have the freedom to design your own course of study, but of course in close consultation with an advisor. So when you arrive here and you start your studies at, for instance, computer science, you would sit down with one of our advisors, and they would look at your interest and see how that matches the courses and the specializations and the electives you can do. And you would actually have the opportunity to either be really specialized within one narrow field, or perhaps even be cross-disciplinary and get some business courses, or do something that will then add up to a great master's. I also want to you probably heard it before, but here in Scandinavia, and especially here also in Denmark, English is actually one of the main languages. So all studies are carried out in English. And when you go to the supermarket or go to the bus station, you would actually be able to have a conversation in English with everyone here. But of course, we think you should learn a bit of Danish or a bit of Swedish if you go to Sweden or Denmark, because it's a way to get more friends, to socialize, and perhaps even prepare you for a career here. And the language courses are free of charge. So I think that's one way to actually have a great stay here. Regarding your career here, you can actually stay up to 3 years after your studies. So your student visa, when that is granted, that is for the entire master's program plus 6 months, so 2.5 years. And after that, you can apply for a green card scheme. You have to apply within the first 12 months after your graduation, but then you can apply to stay here for 2 years to search for a relevant job within engineering. And if you actually get a job, you can apply for 1 more year. So you will end up having a visa for at least 3 years to get a great start here in Denmark. I just wanted to show you that right now you're actually able to apply for our engineering study programs. The application window is from 1st of November until the 15th of January, if you're from Indonesia. And we also have a winter intake. So if you're a little slow, you can wait and apply after the summer, and then you will start in the winter instead. And the tuition fee waiver to study here at engineering is 14,800 euro. And there's also a small application fee that you need to pay. And just if you want to get in contact with me, I always love to answer questions. This is my private email and a study email, and also our email for our admissions office, because you can have some very particular questions, but we're always happy to answer them and help you out when you're applying. So please don't hesitate. Contact us if you want to have a chat or you have a question, or I'm sure I can help you out finding the right one to talk to, because it's a big university with almost 40,000 students here and 8,000 employees. So I will help you out finding the right connection. But I think that's what I wanted to share today, Suki.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. So next one, Chalmers University of Technology. Abhilash, your turn.
Thank you super much. I'm going to share my screen really quickly. I'm going to do something similar to what Sarah was doing. So I don't know whether I'm doing this right. Are you able to see my screen, Suchi?
Yeah, we can see.
Perfect. So this is a really short, so to speak, presentation about the university. You probably know most of these things. We were started in 1829, so we're almost 200 years old. We've got about 38 master's programs. We are located in 2 places in Gothenburg. We have only 2-year programs. They're all full-time programs, about 10,000 students, about 3,000 master's students, about 1,000 international students, and about 3,000 staff members. Our application period is, sorry about the whole, switching slides. The application period is already open at the moment, which means that you can apply up until the 17th of January. The 1st of February is a deadline for making your application fee payment or the documentation and things like that. And on the 7th of April, you will get your admissions results. It's all an online process, so you've got nothing to worry about. Just go to chalmers.se/key dates and you will be able to figure out what to do, how to do it, on which date to do it, right? As far as tuition fees and scholarships are concerned, we've got scholarships that are both partial tuition fee waivers and full tuition fee waivers, in addition to a national scholarship scheme that is actually 100% scholarship of tuition fee waiver plus living expenses. So all you got to do is go to chalmers.se/scholarships, and you'll be able to figure out which scholarship applies to you, because each scholarship has its own requirements and its own information. So you can actually read about each specific scholarship and choose how many of those you want to apply for, because you can apply to many scholarships, but you will only get one, right? And then there are certain things that we would like to pick up about the university. There are 8 things that we usually speak about when we present Chalmers. These are the first 4, and we've already spoken about quite a few of these things during our presentation in the beginning, that it is hierarchically flat, that there is a lot of collaboration between students, teachers, and researchers. There's a lot of collaboration between education, research, and industry. And there is a lot of prestige that students feel with respect to their studies, which is why we rank among students also very high. Then you've got the fact that we are a very international university. So these are the last 4. Very international university, more than 60 nationalities. Amongst those 1,000 international students, there's more than 60 nationalities. We guarantee you student housing, so you've got no worries about finding a place to live during your studies over here. We will start you off with a 6-month free Swedish course, which is inside your tuition fees already. And then the Gothenburg municipality offers you free Swedish lessons throughout your studies over here. So you literally never need to pay to study Swedish. And the reason we want you to learn is exactly like Sarah was saying. It is in order to make you more socially active. You can go out and make your own networks pretty easily if you learn the language. Not that Swedes don't speak English. In fact, Swedes are number 2 in the world, if I remember correctly, for English fluency as a second language. So it's a very commonly English-speaking country. However, in order to make a network, it would be good for you to actually speak Swedish. And then, of course, we make sure that you have a safe, secure, and friendly orientation. Once again, in order to make sure that you settle down here and you feel like this is home away from home, kind of, You can get in touch with our students. All you got to do is scan that QR code, or you can simply go to the link bit.ly/chat with Chalmers students. You can literally also chat with us by clicking on the staff button over there. And then you've also got this event that we're doing, which is called the Chalmers Digital Fair. scan the QR code or go to chalmers.se/digital fair, digital masters fair, and you basically get to talk to people like Björn, actually. So there are professors at the university who are program directors that you get to talk with at Chalmers during this fair. It's between the 22nd and the 26th of November. These are the contact details to us. We've got some social media channels. We've got an email address that you can send your emails to, or like I said earlier, you can chat with us. So one of these ways you can get in touch with us, follow us, and get in touch with us so we can answer your questions and like understand how we can help you make a good application or how you can fit into the Chalmers life, basically. That was the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much, Abhilash. So last but not least, we have Bjorn for KTH Royal Institute of Technology. Bjorn, your turn.
Thank you very much. This will be extremely short and to the point. I totally agree with the others. And from one perspective, I really don't care if you should choose Chalmers or Aarhus or KTH, but I would strongly advise you to try out the Nordic countries. I think it would be a great experience and a learning opportunity. We have too few Indonesian students. I actually recruited a new PhD student in August, and she was from Bali, Ida. Fantastic. So we have fantastic experience with Indonesian students, so we would like more. That said, I think we do offer a very high quality education at KTH, consistently ranked top 100 in the world. We're not a comprehensive university, but we do have, I'm from the School of Architecture and Built Environment, that we rank top 20 in the world. So we offer very good high education. We would also like to think that we, without sounding too pretentious, we educate the problem solvers of tomorrow. We like to infuse our students with an entrepreneurial mindset and thinking, and we talked about the different sort of teaching or our different approach to teaching and learning in Scandinavia. I think, again, that is something to consider. And if you haven't been to Stockholm lately or at all, it's a fantastic place to be. I wouldn't call it the capital of Scandinavia, but it's a big city, 2 million people. And it's very clean and it's very safe. It's based on 14 islands and we do have 20 odd parks. So it's green and blue and it's very livable, it's safe. And if you need to have any more questions, contact me or check out the specific requirements of our programs at this point. So hope to see you soon in Stockholm or Scandinavia then, anytime. So thank you very much for attending.
Great, thank you, Bjorn. And also to add everyone here, I would also give the link of universities in the screen to all the participants that are watching right now. Please do visit international.au.dk for Aarhus University, and you can visit www.chalmers.se/en for Chalmers University of Technology and www.kth.se/en for KTH Royal Institute of Technology. Thank you very much. We finally come to the end of the session, and I'd like to thank Abhilash, Bjorn, and Sarah for the interesting discussion. We received a lot of information from all of you, and thank you for all the participants that are watching as well. As a reminder, before we close the session, the virtual booth is still happening outside of the auditorium, so please do visit every universities that you are interested in and chat with the representative directly. On behalf of the EHEF 2021 organizer, thank you everyone for joining us and see you in the next talk show.
Okay.
Terima kasih.
Thank you so much. Bye.
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 Bye.